Good afternoon, Mr. Ramos.
Afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon, Ms. Lusk.
Morning, Judge.
Are we going to do your client kind of the same picture like we did yesterday? Is that the plan?
Yes.
Okay. All right, the court's back on the record in the Griffin matter. We left off yesterday on, we're still in the petitioner's case in chief. We're on the direct examination of the respondent by Ms. Lusk after she was called as an adverse witness by Mr. Ramos. We're going to pick up where we left off. Ms. Lusk, you may proceed when you're ready.
Okay, thank you, Judge. So Kristen, yesterday we were going through the exhibits, and now I would like to have everyone go to Respondent's Exhibit 10, if possible, so we can talk about their living conditions. Does everybody have that?
No.
Respondent's Exhibit 10, I'm on Respondent's 10.
Mr. Ramos, do you have it? 10?
Yeah, I have.
You okay? Okay, so we're looking at Exhibit 10 right now. Can you identify this, Kristen?
That is Brooklyn, Jaden and Jackson's bathroom.
Okay, and that's in your house,
Yes,
and you're renting this house. Is it a house?
apartment.
Apartment, okay. And how much do you pay every month?
About $14.05 a month.
Okay, and are you caught up?
Yes,
Okay, and so this is, how many bathrooms do you have?
2.
Okay, and this is what they use.
Mhm.
Who cleans this residence? Do you have a maid?
No,
Okay, so do they have chores, the kids,
yes.
and responsibilities? What, can you tell us the chores of the kids, what they're responsible to do?
Brooklyn does dishwasher, cleans up the kitchen and her bathroom. Jackson picks up in his room, takes the trash out, and Jaden picks up his room. Sometimes he takes the trash out, just depends.
And can you go to the next picture? What is this? Do you have the next picture? Bill?
That's the bathroom that I use.
Okay. Is it always this clean, or did you clean up in these pictures?
Judge, I'm gonna object to her. The client is testifying now from documents and exhibits that have not been admitted or offered into evidence.
I show R10 is admitted.
Oh, I'm sorry, Judge.
Yeah.
You're right.
Yes. Okay. Okay. The next picture is of R10. What is that?
That is Jackson and Brooklyn's bedroom.
Okay. What are all these trophies up here?
Those are Jackson's baseball and football trophies.
And the next page,
That is Jaden's bedroom.
so he has his own bedroom?
Yeah,
Okay. And the next page, which is marked, I believe, it's still 10, but it has a 44 as bait stamp. What is this picture of?
that's Jackson and I, Mother's Day,
Okay, in what year?
2019.
And the next page?
Same Mother's Day, 2019, me and Brooklyn.
Okay. And the next page?
That is my birthday of 2020 with Jaden.
Does he do his hair? Does he do that?
Yeah,
Okay, and the next page, which is marked at the bottom, it's still our Exhibit 10, but 47 at the bottom on the bait stamp.
that was their first day of school of 2020 for online school.
48, which is still R10.
That was Jackson's last football game of 2020.
And the next page,
That's the kids' restroom.
okay, and that's number 49 at the bottom, right, with the date stamp?
Yes.
Is that another bathroom or the same bathroom?
That's the kids.
The kids' bathroom, the
Yeah.
same bathroom we showed
Mhm.
before?
Yeah.
And number 50 bait stamp, which is part of R10, what is that picture of?
That was Jackson's 10th birthday. He had a baseball game.
And 51,
That is my kitchen.
52,
That is my laundry room,
53,
my living room.
okay,
Um,
54,
That's Jaden and I on Mother's Day 2019.
he's pretty big, is he? How tall is he?
Almost 6'4".
Really? Okay. And I'm going to go to discussing about the co-parenting. Do you have issues in co-parenting with Mr. Griffin?
Yes.
What kind of issues do you have?
It's not good communication. I don't really get a response.
How do
So-
you contact him?
Usually through text message.
And what kind of things? Well, let's say what's the most recent example that you can give us about something you tried to co-parent with him about?
I tried to ask for the kids' health insurance cards because it's been active since June 1st. I need that for Jackson's doctor's appointment actually tomorrow.
What doctor's appointment does he have tomorrow?
He has to go see a concussion specialist because he got hit in his football game.
Who did?
Jackson.
Jackson, okay. And did you inform Mr. Griffin that he got hit?
He was there at the game.
Okay, and what did everybody do was he knocked unconscious or what happened in this game?
No, he got hit under the chin and he just went out of the game and the trainer checked him and did some tests on the sidelines. And then he came over and talked to both Chris and I.
Hey, did Mr. Griffin decide to take him to the hospital?
No,
Did he want to take him to a doctor?
I'm not sure. I just set it up the next day, the
Okay.
next morning.
So you felt in the best interest of the kids that you were going to just set up an appointment
Yes.
and take him
Yes.
for this? Did he have a concussion? You don't know.
He had symptoms, so that's why he's going to see the concussion specialist.
Okay, and what doctor is this?
Dr. Angie Curtis.
Okay, is this his pediatrician or who is this?
No, it's a specialist.
For what?
She's at UT. So it was a recommendation from the school.
Okay, are you taking off work to go down there to take him to the specialist?
Yes.
Okay, and did you tell Mr. Griffin?
I texted him that Jackson had an appointment on Friday with the concussion specialist, and that's when I told him that I needed a copy of the insurance cards.
Did he make any attempt to say he wants to go to the doctor with you?
No,
Nothing?
no.
Okay, and why do you have to have the insurance cards to take him there?
That's what they told me that was required when I show up to the.
Objection, hearsay.
Sustained.
So you asked Mr. Griffin for the cards.
Objection,
What
ask an
did
answer.
he- What did he say?
No, overruled. You may answer that. Did you ask him for the cards?
Right,
Yes,
and by text,
yes,
by email at all, or just text?
just text message.
Okay, and what was the response, if any?
Well, I texted him yesterday. I didn't get I texted him Wednesday and I didn't get a response. Or I texted him Tuesday and I didn't get a response until Wednesday.
And what was the response?
He just sent me the ID number and the group number, and I responded that the office told me that I have to have a copy of the card. And he said that they should be coming in this week. And if not, then he'll call and try to get a temporary copy.
Is this a new insurance company for the kids?
Yes,
Okay, this is from his employment at Frito-Lay now? Is
yes.
this right? Who's the insurance company? Do you know?
Blue Cross Blue Shield.
Okay, and when did he start this job? Do you know?
No,
Okay, have you asked for cards previously to this?
Yes.
And what has the response been then?
Judge, objection, may I have a time frame, please?
Sustained.
Well, when's the last time you asked for cards?
I think the end of July.
Okay,
Judge,
and
same objection, what year?
Sustained.
what year?
July of 2021.
Okay, and did you ask prior to July 2021?
I wasn't aware that he had new insurance.
Did he ever notify you that he switched jobs?
No.
Okay, so as far as you know, he was still working as a school teacher?
Yes.
Do you know why he's not working as a school teacher anymore?
No.
So you don't know when he started?
No.
As of right now, do you have the cards for the
No.
kids? What's gonna happen when you show up tomorrow with no cards? Do you know?
Objection calls for speculation.
Sustained.
Let's talk about other type of communication with him. The current rights, powers, and duties that he has. Would you agree that he has all independent rights, powers, and duties?
Yes.
Okay. Does he have any limitations on things he can do for the children, such as taking them to the doctor?
No.
Does he have any, he even has independent rights for school education,
Yes.
correct?
Yes.
Does he have any limitations that he can't go and try to do something for these kids for
No.
education? He can take them to the dentist, correct?
Yes.
He can take them to psychiatric and psychological doctors.
Yes.
He doesn't even have to get your agreement because you're both independent, right?
Correct.
Okay. As far as you know, has he really exercised any of his independent rights? If he has concerns about these kids, such as, what was the one, except for taking Jaden to a doctor of his own, a counselor of his own?
No.
Has he done anything else that you know of?
He took the kids to the dentist.
Okay. So you're not preventing him in any way or stopping him from doing anything in the best interest of the kids if he feels it's necessary for those children, right?
Right.
The only real exclusive right you have is to determine the residence of the kids within Fort Bend and contiguous counties.
Yes.
And you are fine with those rights, powers, and duties being independent as they are, correct?
Yes.
Has he, do you know, has he ever tried to withdraw them from the school and put them in another school?
No.
Now he, as far as you know, does he receive, beside his income, does he receive some type of large settlement money monthly?
Objection, objection, Judge. It's not relevant unless she goes into the settlement because you have mental anguish damages, you have other issues in a settlement, and it may be a confidential settlement, I don't know. And she may be speculating.
All right, the objection's overruled. You may answer that, ma'am.
Okay, as far as you know, does he receive a monthly stipend or monthly amount every month beside working for his job?
Yes.
And what is that money?
It's through a neurocognitive company.
Okay, and what is this neurocognitive company?
I'm assuming it's for his maybe concussion settlement from the NFL.
Okay, so he used to work for the NFL.
Yes.
Okay, and you know how much the money is because it's on his discovery, right? How much is it
Yes.
every month? How much is it?
2,700 and something.
Okay. And that's in addition to what he gets paid, correct?
Yes.
Do you have any knowledge as to whether this is disability money or that he has a disability based on the settlement?
No.
You don't have knowledge?
No.
Okay. Do you know if he has any mental permanent effects from,
Objection, Judge. That's medical diagnosis and it calls for speculation at this time.
Sustained.
do you know if Mr. Christopher has any physical limitations?
No,
You don't know, or he doesn't have any,
he doesn't have any
but you know.
that I know.
Now, who takes the kids to tutoring?
They go during school.
Do any of them have to go before school?
Sometimes Jackson's might be before school.
And who takes them?
I do.
Has Mr. Griffin ever taken the kids to tutoring before or after school
No,
from 2015?
no,
No. Does he know they go to tutoring?
I'm not sure.
Okay. Now, beside the co-parenting, it was ordered in the decree that if you take the kids to a doctor and you have to pay money up front.
Mhm.
Now, is that a co-pay money that you pay?
It's a co-insurance.
Okay, and so sometimes you have a bill, is that right, that you have to pay when you first take the
Yes.
kids there?
Yes.
Okay, now, what is your understanding when you get that bill and you submit it to him? What is your understanding? Who is this? What type of account is this paid from? Do you know?
He has an HRA account from the NFL that reimburses him 100% of all medical bills.
For the kids?
Yes.
Okay. So when you send him a bill, I make it like for copay for $50.
Mhm.
And you said, what do you do with that bill when you get it?
I'll send him a copy of it.
And what do you ask him for? What do you do then?
I just let him know that I took whichever child to the doctor. This is what I paid up front, and can you reimburse me?
Okay, and you send him a copy of the receipt and so forth?
Yes.
Does he turn it into an insurance? Do you know?
I don't object at this point in time. First of all, that's outside their pleadings. I don't believe they're asked for a reimbursement claim.
It's not about that,
Response.
what I'm talking about. I'm talking about co-parenting and communication and everything else.
Overruled for that limited purpose.
Okay, so you send it in, and does he ever reimburse you?
No,
Judge, I don't
because he
object on
says
grounds
that
of
I owe
relevance. It's a reimbursement issue.
Sustained as to relevance.
Okay, but do you have a communication issue with him concerning the insurance?
Yes.
Have you tried to explain this to him?
Yes.
Does he understand?
No.
Does he ever, it doesn't, you don't get reimbursed?
No.
Have you stopped sending him bills?
Yes.
And why is that?
Judge, I don't object on the
Because
same grounds. It just relevance. It's a reimbursement. They keep going off on that.
Sustained.
Do you know if he has to pay this HRA account?
Judge, I'm going to object on the same grounds.
Sustained.
How do you see yourself as a parent?
I see myself as I give them unconditional love. They're my first priority, and they're my life.
Okay.
And I'm hands-on. I believe that I do the best that I can.
Does Mr. Griffin blame you for anything that's going on with Jaden?
Yes.
What does he blame you? How does he blame you?
He says that I ignore them and I don't spend time with them, and I don't have structure for them.
And what, if if he was so dissatisfied, but what has he done anything to improve the conditions that he believes are not good? What has he done besides blame you?
Nothing.
Objection, Judge, that's also speculation on her part.
Overruled. You may answer that, ma'am.
He hasn't done anything.
Okay. What do you think, what could he do better than you?
Nothing. I don't see anything else that he could do that would be different, that would change it.
Do you know, has he ever stated that the mental health of a child is due to his home environment?
Yes, he does. He believes that.
Objection, Judge, to everything after yes, non-responsive.
Sustain. Sustain.
What does he believe?
That Jaden was feeling depressed because he was living in my home.
Do you know if Jaden ever asked to go live with Mr. Griffin?
Objection, Judge, that's hearsay.
Sustained.
What could Mr. Griffin provide for these kids that you haven't provided?
Objection, Judge, that's also speculation.
Not if she has
Fine.
personal knowledge.
I renew my objection.
Objection sustained.
What does he do, any type of counseling for Brooklyn?
No,
Does he do any type of counseling for Jackson?
no.
Is his main concern Jaden for some reason?
I'm assuming, yes, that's,
Objection, Judge, calls for speculation on her part.
Sustained.
Does he ever complain about Jackson and Jaden? I mean, Jackson and Brooklyn?
no.
What other things do you try to co-parent with him about?
I try to communicate about sports practices, drop off and pickups. Maybe if one of the kids needs picked up from school.
Okay, and I think we talked about this yesterday. Was it your testimony that if it's not his time, he doesn't help with any of this?
Yes,
Do you know what his hours are at the new job?
no.
How far away does he live from where you live now?
I think maybe like it's a 15-20 minute drive.
If one or three kids, or if the kids went to live with him, would they have to switch schools?
Yes,
Okay, so they go to school now at
Yes.
where?
Morton Ranch High School and Morton Ranch Junior High.
Okay, and that would not be the same schools.
No,
So he's basically saying he wants these kids, but he thinks it's okay for them to start in new schools in the middle of the year.
Judge, I'm gonna object.
Yes.
That calls for speculation on her part.
Sustained. Unless he's told you, ma'am.
Did he ever talk of placing the kids in private schools?
no,
So they'd still be in a public school, right? With this,
yes.
what do you have personal knowledge of that he's done that you believe wasn't good parental judgment?
I think he discusses child support with the
Judge,
kids.
I'm gonna object. I'm gonna object on grounds of hearsay if I could take her on Voltaire, because the only way she knows that is if the kids told her that.
Right. That's hearsay. Sustained is that comment. Anything that you have personal knowledge of?
Trying to take them to Mexico during COVID. I think that was a high risk to put them in.
And that came up yesterday too. So do you feel does he coerce you into doing things?
I don't object to the form of the question.
Sustained is deleting.
Do you feel he bullies you?
Yes.
Does he control you?
Objection, Judge. Again, leading.
Sustained.
How did it come about that you agreed on this Mexico trip, but then changed your mind?
I mean, the kids were excited to go because it was going to be a vacation for them. But if there's a chance it's gonna affect their health, then me as a parent has to decide if it's a good option or not. And I didn't feel that that was a safe trip for them to go on at the time.
Not only do they have to go on a plane, right, to fly down there,
Objection, Judge. The council's testifying at this point in time.
Sustained.
how are they supposed to
Sustained.
get down there?
They're gonna fly.
And they were staying where?
I can't remember the name
No,
of
but I
it.
mean, was it a resort or hotel?
Objection calls for speculation on her part at this point in time. She doesn't know.
Overruled.
I'm sure it was a Meyer
Objection
Riviera
calls for
resort.
speculation, Judge.
No, you have
Overruled.
personal knowledge, you know where they were.
Mhm.
But I'm saying what type of place? You said it was a resort, right?
Resort.
Okay, now, in addition to that, were they going to miss school?
Yes,
So was it, how many days were they gonna miss at school?
I think 3 days.
So that was unexcused absences, correct?
Yes.
So do you feel that it's okay for him when he wants to do something, like for them to miss school, but not for when something comes up when they miss school with you?
No.
What do you feel?
I mean, I just feel there's no difference in that.
But it was okay in his mind for the kids to miss 3
Yes.
days of school,
Yes.
correct? Now, when they came back from school, because they had gone, or if they had gone down there,
Mhm.
when they came back at the time, because of the schooling, if they had gone to a area that had such as that as COVID, did the
Because
school?
I'm going to
want
object.
them-
You are testifying and leading at this time.
Sustained. Ms. Plus, don't lead your witness.
When they came back, was there to be some type of quarantine?
I think they would have had to been tested.
Objection, Judge. That's it calls for speculation on her part.
Sustained.
No? Did Brooklyn have any plans? Or did the kids have any school plans beside missing the 3 days? What else? Is there anything that they might miss out on?
Jackson would have missed a football game.
Okay,
And Brooklyn's National Juniors Honor Society induction.
what was that all about?
She was nominated for National Honor Society, and her induction would have been during that time.
Do you know, when you gave him notice, if he was able to cancel and get his money back?
If you cancel 24 hours ahead, you
I'm
can.
going to object. That calls for
refund it.
speculation on her part.
That's in the
Sustained.
discovery.
No, do you know?
Yes,
Are you talking about the airfare? Are you talking about the hotel or what?
the airfare.
And it's on the discovery also that we've submitted, right? Which is-
Objection, Judge. That's been asked and answered.
Overruled.
Okay, Judge, on R16, which has been admitted, page 3 of the exhibit,
What exhibit?
was there at P29? Is there there's a section there? Can you read that? Does everybody have that?
No, I don't, because I don't know what number you're referring to.
Okay, it's in
R16.
exhibit 16.
Okay.
R16, and it's the United Information, and it's page, well, it's your exhibit, exhibit P29, I believe it. Oh, it's your date stamp 106, date stamp at the bottom. Do you have that? Yes,
That's not R16. Oh, I see I'm sorry, it's not in order. So you said 106 Bates label?
bottom, yes,
Okay, I'm there.
okay, can you read that?
Refunds within 24 hours when you book it and ticket a reservation through united.com, the United mobile app, the United customer contact center at counters or city ticket offices, or if you use Mileage Plus miles to book an award ticket, we will allow you to cancel the ticketed reservation
Judge,
without
the
penalty.
document speaks for itself. It's in evidence.
Sustained.
Okay, so he was able to receive 100% refund.
Objection, Judge. That's also speculation on her part.
We're reading the.
Overruled.
Okay, you had to hire me to defend this lawsuit, correct? From
Yes.
Mr. Griffin filing first as petitioner?
Yes,
And do you have funds to take, to do a case like this?
no,
And are you asking, I mean, this case has gone on and on, and are you asking for Mr. Griffin to pay your attorney's fees on this
yes,
modification? Okay, and so far, and this is exhibit 17, Judge, my attorney's fees, which I'll get into and testify to later, but so far, how much have you had to pay and come up with?
You don't object. This is an
$9,268.
improper witness to go ahead and prove up your attorney's fees as
I'm not
reasonably necessary.
I'm not proving it up, I'm just asking.
Ms. Lusk, I'll ask for argument when I need it. The objection's overruled. You may answer that, ma'am.
$9,268.10.
Okay. And that's what you're asking for because of this, for this case?
Yes,
Now, there was never an amicus hired in this case to look out for the interests of the children either, was there?
no,
Objection, Judge. Relevance again.
Overruled.
Nothing further, Judge. Pass the witness.
Mr. Ramos, your witness.
Briefly, ma'am, on the issue of attorney's fees, you believe from the get-go that this was a nothing case in a frivolous lawsuit. Is that correct?
no,
You did not believe that. You thought that, as a matter of fact, Mr. Griffin's claims were in fact meritorious, meaning they had merit and concerns. Is that true?
no. I'm sorry, I'm not understanding the question.
Judge,
All right, let me
yes,
rephrase it. Do you believe that Mr. Christopher Griffin, at the time that he filed the lawsuit, that he had good reason to go ahead and file a lawsuit against you wanting custody of the kids?
No,
Okay. And do you believe at the time that he filed the lawsuit that it was necessary for him to do so on the basis of the children having mental health issues and educational issues?
no,
Okay. So you believe at the time that he filed the lawsuit and your children were getting straight Fs that was not necessary for him to file a lawsuit, correct?
correct.
And you also felt that on the mental health issue, that it was unnecessary for him to file such a lawsuit, even though you took your children to a psychiatrist in April 2021, correct?
The question is confusing.
Let me break it down. You believe that he filed an unnecessary lawsuit against you because of his concerns regarding the mental health of the children, correct?
Yes,
Yet you took your children, your own children, to go see a psychiatrist and get an assessment and an evaluation in April of 2021, correct?
yes.
So why would you take your children to a psychiatrist if you don't believe they got mental health issues?
I never said they don't have, any of them have mental health issues. That's me observing as a parent, taking my child to receive help.
Okay, so if Mr. Griffin has the same observation as you do as the father, his have no credence, meaning they have no validity. Only your opinion counts, correct?
No,
Judge, he's mischaracterizing all the testimony because he's just saying like that was the only thing she did as a psychiatrist. These kids were going
Ms.
to
Lusk, Ms.
counselors.
Lusk, that's a speaking objection. I don't want speaking objections. The objection's overruled. Let me answer
Mischaracterizing.
that.
Ma'am, as a matter of fact, you believe that you want to leave the order the same way with independent rights. So the independent rights so far for the kids were, we have a psychiatrist, which is Dr. Simmons, correct?
that was a previous psychiatrist.
I'm sorry, yes, a previous psychologist. Then the same independent right was exercised when you went ahead and then took the children to a different psychologist or psychiatrist back in April of 2021, correct?
Yes,
Okay, and then that same independent right was exercised by you again when you went ahead and took the children to go see a therapist by the name of Monica. Is that correct?
when I took Jaden, yes.
Okay, and then Mr. Griffin had taken the children initially when he filed the lawsuit to the Katy Christian Counseling setting. Is that correct?
I'm just aware of him taking Jaden.
Objection non-responsive. Is that a yes?
Sustained.
No,
Did he take Jaden? Yes or no?
yes,
Okay, and in addition to that, did you agree with Mr. Griffin that a counselor or therapist by the name of Claudia will be providing counseling to your son, Jaden?
yes,
Okay, and you essentially did not exercise that right. You independently went ahead and shopped and got your own therapist, correct?
yes,
And you believe that it is in the best interest of your children to continue with the current order where they're seeing multiple psychiatrists and multiple doctors. Is that correct?
yes,
As a matter of fact, because you changed psychiatrists, the new psychiatrists have placed your son in medication where he had an adverse reaction to it. Is that correct?
I mean, there's side effects with,
Objection non-responsive.
Sustained.
As a matter of fact, there's side effects to every medication, which is exactly what Mr. Griffin told you that he was concerned about when you took your son to the new psychiatrist, correct?
yes,
And as a matter of fact, Mr. Griffin was correct because your son did have a side effect and a reaction to the initial medicine, correct?
yes, and he stopped the
Objection
medication.
non-responsive.
Sustained after yes.
And in addition to that, ma'am, as a matter of fact, when your son got the concussion, he got the concussion at a football game on a Thursday or on a Friday.
It was a Monday.
Okay, it was a Monday. And I believe then your son, you said your son needed then the follow-up to go ahead and go see a specialist.
Yes,
Did you tell Mr. Griffin that he needed to go see a specialist?
he was there when the trainer told
Objection
both of us.
non-responsive.
Sustained.
Did you tell Mr. Griffin that your son had to go see a specialist? Yes or no?
No,
Did you provide him the name of the specialist that your son was going to go see?
I did not give the exact name now.
Okay, and as a matter of fact, Mr. Griffin could not attend the appointment because he didn't even know the name of the actual specialist that you took your son to go see. Is that correct?
He didn't go yet.
Objection non-responsive.
Sustained.
In addition to that, when was
Objection. I mean, that's mischaracterization. He didn't even go to the doctor yet. So how can you say he
Judge,
didn't go? He wasn't.
speaking objection?
Ms. Lusk, you'll have an opportunity to question her again if you think that Mr. Ramos is confusing the court. Objections overruled.
And the specialist appointment that you made, that you personally did not inform Mr. Griffin on, was that on a Saturday of that same week?
Friday.
Friday. And your testimony is that that same Friday, when you were at the specialist office, is when you asked Mr. Griffin for the insurance card. Is that correct?
That's not correct.
Did you ask him on a Friday? That's your testimony, correct?
No, I asked him on Tuesday.
You asked him on Tuesday, he responded on Wednesday that he didn't have the cards yet, correct?
Yes,
Okay. And do you think that that is a reasonable explanation why he could not give you the insurance card?
no,
Okay. And as a matter of fact, when you talked also about your trip to Mexico, man, you knew ahead of time and you agreed that your daughter would in fact miss her award ceremony. You put that in a text. Is that true?
yes,
As a matter of fact, you also agreed that your other child, okay, who was going also to the wedding, which was whom? Your son?
I have 2 other sons.
Okay, your son that was scheduled to miss the football game. Who was that?
Jackson,
All right, and you also agreed to that knowing that he was going to miss the football game, true?
yes,
Okay, so when you sit here disingenuously and you say, not in
Objection
the.
argumentative.
Okay,
Sustained.
I'm gonna go ahead and rephrase my question. You knew in advance that your son and your daughter were gonna miss 3 days of school and they were gonna miss the events, correct?
yes,
And now you're accusing in your testimony, Mr. Griffin, that Mr. Griffin went ahead and basically on his own decided that the kids were gonna miss 3 days of school, correct?
Can you ask the question again?
Mr. Griffin informed you that the kids were gonna miss 3 days of school, correct?
Yes,
And you agreed that they would miss 3 days of school, correct?
yes,
And so you think it was in the best interest of your children at the time that you made the agreement that they would miss 3 days of school, correct?
yes,
Okay. Your children and the tutoring, your testimony was that the children take the bus to school. Is that correct?
some days they do, and sometimes I drive them.
Okay. So when your testimony yesterday was that you make sure that you see the children get on the bus to go to school, you want to change your testimony today and say sometimes you drive them to school?
Well, I said that yesterday, sometimes I drive them.
What time does the bus pick up your children?
Brooklyn and Jaden get picked up at 6:41 a.m. and Jackson's bus comes at 8:26 a.m.
Okay, so your son who has trouble sleeping gets picked up by the bus at times at 6:41 a.m.
Yes,
Okay. Your Monica, the counselor, okay, you did not inform Mr. Griffin at the time that Monica was selected as a therapist, that she was going to go ahead and provide counseling for your son, correct?
yes, I did tell him that.
When did you tell him? After the treatment started?
No, I told him after I spoke with him after Jaden's appointment with Dr. Marcellus that he was going to start seeing a therapist, Monica.
Right, because that was when Dr. Marcellus recommended that your son go see Monica, correct?
Yes,
So after the referral was made and you were told that he needed to go see Monica, that's when you told Mr. Griffin, correct?
yes,
Mr. Griffin had no say because that was the recommendation from the treater, correct?
I mean, as an independent, I can make independent decisions to schedule them appointments.
Right, and you don't have to tell Mr. Griffin that you're scheduling those appointments, correct? Because you have that right. Is that true?
Yes,
And as a matter of fact, when you're testifying in here that you're having issues with Mr. Griffin co-parenting, your testimony here today is that you do not co-parent with Mr. Griffin. Is that correct?
that is not correct.
Okay, your testimony is that you have the right to independently make those decisions without telling Mr. Griffin, correct?
Yes,
Do you believe then that that is an ability to co-parent on your part?
I try to co-parent with him.
Objection, non-responsive.
Sustained.
On the basis of your behavior and your actions in your testimony, do you believe that that is an inability for you to co-parent with Mr. Griffin?
No,
And you also testified that you do not believe that Mr. Griffin's concerns regarding your home environment, okay, and your children's performance at school and their mental health issues are related. Is that true?
correct.
As you sit here today, your testimony is that Mr. Griffin lives 15 minutes away from you. Is that correct?
Around 15, 20-minute drive.
But you're the one that ended up moving from one apartment to another. Is that correct?
Objection relevance?
Overruled.
Yes.
And so now you want to blame Mr. Griffin from being 15 minutes away from your residence?
I'm not sure blaming what.
Well, you're saying
Objection,
that the travel-
mischaracterizing the testimony
Wait,
again.
wait.
There was no blame about there's no blame.
He's asking her, does he blame him for being 15 or 20 minutes away from her residence?
No.
The tutoring in the morning for your son Jackson, how many times has he been to tutoring in the morning?
He's only went once. He doesn't need the tutoring.
Okay, so he doesn't need the tutoring. He has gone once to the tutoring. So why did he go to tutoring?
He needed extra help studying he had to do a retest.
Okay, so does he need tutoring or not?
I mean, it's here and there.
And you have no communications with his teachers, is that correct?
They haven't had any issues to contact me about Jackson.
Okay, but you're saying they had issues contacting you about the other children, is that correct?
As of this year, just one, I got one email about Brooklyn.
Okay, if your son, your oldest son was failing school, straight Fs, is there a particular reason why you did not contact any one of his teachers and schedule a parent-teacher conference?
I contacted his school counselor.
Did you contact any of the teachers to go ahead and schedule a parent-teacher conference?
No.
Okay. And that's because you were so concerned about your son failing school. Is that correct?
No.
Okay. As a matter of fact, did you at any time go ahead and make a formal request to the school that maybe your son needed special accommodations or have an art meeting?
No, I did not.
Okay. And the assessment that was performed in a day by your employer said that your son had difficulty in his speech. Is that correct?
I'm sorry, I don't recall difficulty in his speech.
Yes, ma'am.
He said he was monotone.
I'm sorry, that he was monotone. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. Shoulders were slumped over. Is that correct?
I was not in the office.
As a matter of fact, your son is prescribed Adderall. Is that correct?
Yes.
All right. So he, in addition to the sleeping medicine to combat now the Adderall, because he can't sleep at night, okay, you have not contacted the school to make any accommodations for him for his test taking or
Objection asked and answered.
Overruled.
I have not, because he's not failing anything.
objection non-responsive to everything. I have not.
Sustained.
I'm talking about when he was failing.
Well, he wasn't on the medication when he was failing.
Okay, so when he was getting straight Fs, okay, and you did not feel the need to go ahead and then ask for special accommodations or contact the school or get him on meds?
I didn't do that at the time.
Okay, even though you had the independent right, like you testified, to go ahead and make that decision on your own for your son. Is that correct?
Yes.
Mr. Griffin took one of your children, and I believe that was Jackson, to the dentist. Is that correct?
Yes.
And as a matter of fact, he informed you that your son had 5 cavities. Is that correct?
I don't recall exactly what he needed done.
But he needed some work done
Yes.
by the dentist, correct?
Yes.
Okay, when was the last time you took your son to the dentist before Mr. Griffin took him to the dentist?
Before, I don't have an exact date. I recently just took him in May.
Okay, May, you mean while this lawsuit was ongoing?
Yes.
Okay, but prior to this lawsuit being ongoing in May, when's the last time that you took your son to the dentist?
Chris would take him to the dentist.
Objection, non-responsive.
Sustain.
When's the last time you exercised your independent right, like you're testifying to, and took your son to the dentist besides May of this year?
Asked and answered.
Overruled.
I don't have an exact date.
More than 3 years ago?
More than 3? No,
4 years ago?
no,
5 years ago?
no.
Okay. What's the name of his dentist?
The one that I took him to was Dr. Khan, but then his dad switched the dentist.
No, the one from the last time that you took him to the dentist besides this May 2021. Who was the
Dr.
dentist?
Dr. Faisal?
Dr. who?
I'm not sure the exact name of the dentist at this moment.
Okay. And in addition to that, you have an arrangement with Mr. Griffin for baseball where Mr. Griffin actually takes your son to baseball, select baseball for practice during the week. Is that correct?
No,
Does he drop him off at baseball practice?
on Saturdays that he has him.
How about when he doesn't have him during the week?
No,
When are your son's practices for baseball?
Wednesdays from 7 to 9 p.m. and Saturdays from 2 to 4.
Okay. And your testimony is that Mr. Griffin does not drop off your son during the week for baseball practice and does not pick him up, correct?
Correct.
Does he show up for practice?
Jackson or Chris?
Jackson. Jackson.
Yes,
Okay. So he's present at the practice. Is that correct?
yes.
All right. He's also present at the games. Is that true?
Who, Jackson?
Jackson.
Yes.
Okay. Mr. Griffin on select baseball, does he help out with the cost of playing select ball?
This was all asked and answered yesterday, Judge.
I heard that he pays for half the bats and
Yeah.
pays for
Okay.
the equipment.
All right, that's fair enough. I'll move on from that. And dealing with Mr. Griffin, your son, Jaden, also had a back injury back in 2020. Is that correct?
Yes.
From football, is that true?
I'm not sure if it was exactly from football.
Okay, and who took him to the doctor?
Chris took him.
Okay. And Chris told you he was taking him to the doctor, is that correct?
Yes,
As a matter of fact, he went and probably picked him up from your house to take him to the doctor. Is that accurate?
yes.
Do you see there's a difference in behavior in the way that Mr. Griffin tells you in advance for advance notice to you regarding doctor's appointments versus you not informing him of doctor's appointments?
No,
You're testifying that you have issues co-parenting with Mr. Griffin. Have you filed in your counter petition any request regarding a change in the custody arrangement?
no,
But your testimony here essentially is that the custody arrangement as it sits now is not working because there's no co-parenting, correct?
no, I never said that.
Your testimony is that the current arrangement is in the best interest of your children and it's working, correct?
Yes,
And you believe that is reflected on the specific performance of your children in their everyday activities and schooling. Is that correct?
yes,
Mr. Griffin changing jobs on the basis of the discovery. Is there a large discrepancy in the salaries that Mr. Griffin is making?
I don't know.
Did you look at the discovery?
Yes,
You looked at the pay stubs, didn't you?
Yes,
Okay, did you see a large discrepancy in the amount that he was making as a teacher versus the amount that he's making now?
I'm objecting to vague as to
Well, she saw it.
Overruled.
discrepancy, vague, a large discrepancy or whatever. That's subjective
Overruled. You may answer that, ma'am.
between.
I mean,
Objection, Judge, he's coaching the witness. I mean, you know,
Saying, Ms. Luss, don't rephrase the question for him. Ms. Griffin, do you think there was from your review of the discovery, a large discrepancy in what he was making as a teacher versus what he's making at Frito-Lay?
I see that it's more now. I wouldn't say a large difference.
so you're blaming Mr. Griffin for getting a different job where he's making more money?
I'm sorry, blaming him for what?
For getting a better job that's making more money?
No,
So when your testimony in here is that, are you concerned about the fact that he changed jobs?
I mean, I don't believe that that has anything to do with me.
Okay. How about this? Has Mr. Griffin missed a child support payment
No,
ever?
yes,
Okay, in the last 2 years, has he missed a child support payment?
no,
As a matter of fact, has Mr. Griffin at times helped you with your rent when you couldn't pay it?
no,
Help you with a car payment?
no.
One more. In your exhibit number 6, there's a letter there to Ms. Lusk from Monica, individual therapist. It says that she had certain limitations where she could not release or provide the content of the progress notes for your son. Is that true?
Yes,
Okay. And the reason is that, did you sign a release for Miss Monica to be able to release the notes to Miss Lusk?
I'm not, I did sign a release, but I'm not sure. It was something about HIPAA with the court or something.
Okay, that you were fully aware that at some point in time, there could be a release of these records or contents of these progress reports to the court. Is that correct?
It calls for a legal conclusion.
Let me ask it this way. Did you tell Monica not to release the notes?
No,
Okay. Did you at any point in time inform Mr. Griffin directly of the content of the notes in the progress?
no,
Do you believe that that shows or proves an inability for you to co-parent with Mr. Griffin?
no, he can request the
Not
records.
responsive.
Sustained after no.
And isn't it true that the reason why he couldn't request the records is because you never informed him that Monica, what's her last name?
Mihalchik.
Right. Well, was in fact providing therapy for your son. Is that true?
I'm sorry, can you ask the question again?
Yeah, basically you didn't give him the name of the therapist. Is that true that your son was seeing?
I did tell him the name of her.
Well, how quickly did you tell him the name? How many therapy sessions was your son already in?
He didn't start any therapy yet. This was after his appointment with Dr. Marcellus.
Okay, but during the therapy sessions, did you inform him the name and the recommendation that was made for the therapist?
Yes.
Did you give him an address?
No.
Contact information?
I did give him her email address.
When did you do that?
I'm not sure the exact date.
But it was
after he started therapy.
Okay, so after he started the therapy sessions is when you informed Mr. Griffin of a contact point, meaning an email with the therapist, correct?
Yes.
As a matter of fact, until that point, until you provided that email address, the only contact that this therapist had between yourself and Mr. Griffin was with you. Is that correct?
Yes.
And you had sat there during the therapy sessions at times with the therapist and your son. Is that true?
No.
You did provide the initial information to the therapist regarding the issues of your son, correct?
She read the doctor's notes.
You mean the psychiatrist
Yes.
that made the assessment in one day, correct?
Yes.
And did you tell this doctor that made the assessment in one day, the psychiatrist that prescribes okay, medicine, that your son needed to be on Adderall?
No,
Did you tell him that your son had difficulty paying attention and focusing?
I told him that he was having trouble in school.
As a matter of fact, the session with this psychiatrist lasted 30 minutes. Is that correct?
Anywhere from 30 to 45 minutes. I don't know the exact minutes.
And your testimony is in 30 to 45 minutes, an assessment was made regarding the medication that your son should be on, correct?
He didn't start the Adderall until a few visits after. It wasn't the first visit.
Okay. And as a matter of fact, he recommended that there be a full mental health evaluation on your son. Is that correct?
Which son?
Jaden?
Yes, that was in the notes.
Right. And that was in the notes after his initial assessment of your son's condition. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. So can you explain to this judge how your son is going to go through a full mental health evaluation or assessment after he's already been assessed with
That calls
attention
for
deficit
medical
disorder?
opinion. That's
read
a
the
medical
document?
opinion.
Hold on, response, Mr. Ramos?
Judge, the documents are present regarding the treaters. It doesn't call for a medical. I'm asking if she knows.
Is she what?
Overruled. If you know, ma'am, you may answer that.
I'm not sure.
How often do you see Dr. Simmons in the course of the day, in the course of your employment?
I don't, that's not my employer.
Does he work at the place? where you-
Dr. Simmons, no.
Okay, Monica,
No, she has her own practice.
is it located in the building where you work?
Who are you talking about?
Monica,
No,
how about Dr. Simmons?
he doesn't see Dr. Simmons. That's the previous psychiatrist.
I'm sorry, the psychiatrist he currently sees that made the assessment, he works in your building. Is that true?
Yes.
The have you scheduled a parent-teacher conference for Brooklyn,
No, I have not.
even though she's failing every class except for gym?
She's failing one class right now.
Your testimony here yesterday was that she was failing geometry, biology. Is that true?
No, she's only failing one class.
Ma'am.
I'm sorry.
Ma'am, is she failing biology?
No, no.
She's failing-
Spanish.
Okay, only Spanish?
Yes.
And you checked that today?
She was able to make up work and redo a test to pull her grades up.
And she did that yesterday. Is that true?
She's been doing it this past week.
This past week, right before you were scheduled to go to trial?
Yes.
Okay. If you weren't scheduled to go to trial and Mr. Griffin didn't file this lawsuit, would you have ever taken your son to go see a psychiatrist?
Yes.
And you have taught your son Jaden to hate his father. Is that true?
No.
You have told him that he should be better than his father. Is that true?
No.
Okay. Regarding the concussion at the time that the decree was entered, you knew that Mr. Griffin had a concussion from playing in the NFL. Is that true?
I was aware that he was trying to go through the concussion settlement process.
Okay, so you were fully aware that that process was in fact in place. Is that true?
That he was trying to get it, yes.
Okay, so in the last 5 years, you knew he was in the process of getting the settlement, and you didn't file a motion to modify the child support amount?
Well, it's in the decree that he has to report any workers' compensation or any change in job.
Okay.
And I know that was never
Let's just
reported.
coach you. I mean,
Miss
you know, I
Lusk.
can hear Miss Lusk from here.
Yeah, Ms. Lusk, don't mumble. Keep to yourself while she's on the stand.
Has Mr. Griffin informed you that he has been in contact with the teachers and of the concerns regarding your children's education?
Been in contact with me when?
At any point in time in the last 2.5 years?
Yes,
Okay, and you have made absolutely no modifications in your home to go ahead and meet those concerns. Is that true?
Vague, I'm gonna reject to vague. What does that mean, modifications of your home?
Well, have you changed the behaviors and the routine in your home pursuant to the teacher's concerns?
yes. Do I try to help my children? Yes.
And you have helped them to the point where they're failing?
I mean, he is a teenager that struggles in school.
Okay, so you believe that your son's failure in school is due to the fact that he's a teenager. Is that correct?
I mean, no, but every kid doesn't, some kids have trouble in school and they struggle. He's always struggled in school.
So if he has always struggled in school, ma'am, and you're fully aware of that, okay, you have taken absolutely no steps since that decree was entered in order for your son to make changes and improve his grades. Is that true?
Yes, no, that's not true.
And if you have made those changes, they haven't worked because your son is getting straight Fs.
They
True?
are working because he has A's and B's right now. So the changes are working.
And you said A's and B's like in the last, what, 3 weeks?
Well, he was out of school. This is a whole new school year.
In the last 2 weeks?
Since school started,
When was that?
August 19th,
What's today's date?
September 23rd.
So almost 30 days, you're claiming that your son somehow has improved academically and he's getting straight A's?
I said A's and B's, and
I'm
yes,
sorry. Okay, and you don't believe that there's a coincidence regarding your sons getting A's and B's to you going to trial 30 days from school starting?
no,
If your son's grades are improving, then do you believe that Mr. Griffin filed this lawsuit in good faith in order to improve his son's condition educationally?
no,
Since the filing of the lawsuit, would you admit that you have made certain changes regarding the care and educational needs of your son?
I'm sorry, since the lawsuit,
Yeah, it was filed. by Mr. Griffin.
I do changes as necessary.
Okay, and you're saying that the concerns that Mr. Griffin raised during the lawsuit had nothing to do with the changes that you've made in the last, since April of 2021 of this year.
No,
And you have not made those changes in order for you to prepare for this lawsuit and this trial, in order for you to be painted in a better light as a parent. Is
No.
that true?
no,
And as a matter of fact, you have left your children alone on an overnight basis. Is that correct? While in your care?
no.
Okay. They have been, what time do you get home from work?
Around 6:30 because I pick up Jackson every day.
Okay. And as a matter of fact, your children have to either cook dinner or fend for themselves. Is that true?
No,
So when you come home after you pick up your son at 6:30, you actually cook dinner for your children?
yes, or I pick them something up to eat
Okay, like fast food?
sometimes.
And you do that on a regular basis. Is that true?
No,
Pass the witness, Judge.
Ms. Lusk?
Kristen, did Mr. Griffin tell you the name of the counselor he was taking Jaden to?
no,
Do you know who it is now?
only from the discovery.
Okay, but did you ask him?
No,
So isn't it the same thing that he's trying to accuse you of not informing and then he doesn't inform you either, right?
yes.
Okay, and how long has Jaden been going to whoever this is?
I think October, November of 2020.
Okay, and does that work? How's that working?
I didn't see a change in him. That's why I scheduled him with a different therapist.
Okay, did the counselor ever reach out to you to say, do you want to come in and have some counseling?
No,
Okay, or to meet together as family
no,
counseling? Okay, did I ask you Did you ask him who it was, or how did you find out at first that he was going to
Jade-
someone?
Jaden told me that he was having.
Objection, hearsay.
Okay,
Sustained.
but Mr. Griffin didn't tell you, right?
No,
How often does he go to this, whoever it is?
I'm not sure.
Okay, do you know if it's a psychiatrist or psychologist? Do you even know that?
No,
Okay. When does he reach out to you? Mr. Ramos is acting like you don't need a co-parent, or you don't try to co-parent. When
Judge, I'm
does he
going to
reach-
object to her testifying at this point in time. There's no
Sustained.
question on the floor.
when does he reach out to you? When does Mr. Griffin reach out to you to co-parent?
Objection, Judge. Timeframe.
Oh, last 2.5 years.
All right, had the last 2.5 years.
he doesn't.
So is this what's good for the goose is good for the gander? He doesn't do it either. Is that right?
Yes,
Okay. And does he ever tell you about his conversations, if he has any with the teachers?
no,
Okay. Does he call you about the kids?
no,
Do you know if Mr. Griffin ever made any appointments to try to do anything to get accommodations for Jaden?
no,
Do you know if Mr. Griffin ever reached out to have an ARD?
no.
So what is Mr. Griffin doing if he's so concerned about his schooling, besides taking him to the counselor? What is he doing?
Nothing.
Okay, so what did Mr. Griffin do when Jaden was failing?
I mean, I'm not sure.
Okay, as far as you know, did he do anything?
Objection, Judge. Calls for speculation.
Sustained.
Did you ever see any progress notes from Monica Mihalchik?
No,
Okay, do you understand what progress notes are?
yes,
Okay, do you understand that's something that's privileged information that she has?
Objection, Judge. That's asking for a legal conclusion.
Overruled. You may answer that if you know, ma'am.
Do you understand that progress notes are something that privileged information between herself and the client?
yes,
Okay. So she would not even be able to test this. She was not hired to do a custody evaluation or anything, correct?
correct.
Judge, I'm
Just
gonna-
for-
I
was
withdraw.
Is she hired for individual therapy?
Yes,
Did she ever want you to, for Mr. Griffin to come and speak with her?
she never said anything.
Okay. Did she ever ask you to sit in on any of the,
Judge, I'm going to object to grounds of hearsay.
Sustained.
why do you know why Jaden's doing better now?
Objection, I call for speculation on her part.
Overruled. You can give me, if you have an opinion as to why he's doing better now, you may tell me.
I think the help of the psychiatrist and him sleeping better and being able to focus in school has helped him tremendously.
Nothing further, Judge. Pass the witness.
Mr. Ramos, anything further?
Just one issue, ma'am, regarding the notes, you have in a decree the independent right to represent the children in legal action and to make other decisions or substantial legal decisions concerning your children. Is that correct?
Yes,
So you could have asked for the release of those notes from that therapist. True?
Objection relevance?
Well, you have a legal right.
Overruled.
Well, objection relevance to,
Overruled.
why is it?
You may answer that, ma'am. Did you know you had a legal right to request those records?
no,
And you also had the independent right to consent to the treatment because that's why you took them to go see the therapist. Is that correct?
yes,
And you agreed with Mr. Griffin for your son initially to go see the counselor or the therapist named Claudia. Is that correct?
I agreed that he was going to schedule him for counseling. I didn't know who the person was.
Okay, but you agreed for him to go ahead and take your son to the counseling sessions, correct?
Yes,
Okay. And one of the issues informed to you by Mr. Griffin was that your son was talking about hurting himself. Is that true?
no, I don't consider that him saying he was going to hurt himself.
But he I mean, he didn't want to
I'm
live.
objection to hearsay as to what the child said. Anyway.
Open the door.
Overruled, he's asking what Mr. Griffin told her. At least that's where I understood it. Is that what
Yes,
you're
sir.
asking, Mr. Ramos?
Yes, sir.
What did he tell me?
Yes, ma'am.
He called me and told me that Jaden had contacted him, that he said he felt like it would be better without him here sometimes.
Were you concerned about that statement?
I did have a concern, but then there was also, at that point in time, Jaden had stole $100 out of my wallet, and I asked Jaden about it. And that the following day was when he contacted his dad about that. So I did let his dad know what happened, and I said it's a concern, but it may be a manipulation thing because I caught him stealing $100 out of my wallet.
So your son thieved $100 from you, but he himself did not confess to that?
Yes, he did confess to it.
After you caught him, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And you were so concerned about Mr. Griffin expressing the concerns about your son and maybe the comment that he made back in July of 2020 that you didn't take your son to go see a counselor until April of 2021. Is that true?
Because his dad was taking him
Objection,
to
no
a
response.
counselor.
Sustained.
Pass the witness.
Ms. Lusk, anything further from this witness?
No, Judge.
All right, Mr. Ramos, you may call your next witness.
Judge, I call my client, Mr. Griffin.
You may proceed. Mr. Griffin, if you'll please unmute.
Now proceed, Judge.
You may.
Sir, would you please state your name for the court?
Christopher Griffin?
And you are the petitioner in this case, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
You're asking for primary custody of all three of your children, is that true?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and I'm going to show you what's been marked as exhibit number 3, which is.
Judge, he's
over-
still objection leading.
Overruled. He's just presenting a document. Overruled.
Exhibit. I'm sorry, exhibit number 4, please, P4.
What?
Mr. Griffin, have your children changed schools in the last 2 years?
Yes, they have.
Okay. And who made the decision for your children to change schools?
Their mother did. She moved the 2 youngest ones, and then she.
Sir, I cannot hear you.
Uh,
Is that your wife vacuuming in the background? Can you tell her to stop for a minute, please?
yeah. Is that better?
Hold on, we're gonna go off the record for a second. Mr. Griffin, it sounds like you got some feedback in there. I don't know if it's vacuuming or what, but if you can
Okay.
maybe shut the door or tell someone to stop that, it's gonna be hard for the lawyers to focus and for me.
Just a minute. All right, sorry about that.
Okay, we're back on the record. Mr. Ramos, we're on Petitioners Exhibit 4. You may proceed.
Okay. Sir, this is in fact your affidavit that you filed with the court with your petition to modify. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And if you turn to page 3 of the affidavit, that's in fact your signature. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. In exhibit number 4, if you go 1, 2, 3, the third sentence down, part of your lawsuit was, what was part of your lawsuit under that paragraph? 1, 2, paragraph number 3. That
Uh,
starts May 7th.
hold on, dude. What paragraph am I reading?
Page number 1.
May 7th.
Yes, sir.
I learned that Jaden, our son, had failed the entire year in every subject except for gym class.
Okay, what did you do about it?
I called the school and immediately set up a meeting with his teachers and his counselor.
Did you contact the mother?
She knew. She's on the emails. She's on the emails for the
Objection not
school.
responsive.
Sustained.
Okay. Is the mother on the email chain?
Yes, the mother's on the email chain. She's the primary, so they have her email.
Okay. Did the mother, to your knowledge, did she attempt to schedule a meeting with the counselor?
She had
Objection,
not.
speculation.
If you know,
There was a meeting that was scheduled and she was not in attendance.
did you give her notice of the meeting?
She knew there was a meeting, yes.
Objection non responsive.
Sustained.
Who set the meeting? Answer my question. You or the counselor?
I did,
Okay. Did you tell her?
yes.
Okay. Now, you also have in there another concern on May the 8th regarding your son's everyday grades and that he made sure he was awake. So did you make certain modifications to improve your son's grades?
Yes, I did.
What did you do?
I go and I check his grades weekly, making sure he doesn't have any missing assignments or zeros.
Okay. And what do you do if he does have missing assignments and zeros?
I usually give him a call. He has a personal cell phone, so I call him on a cell phone.
Okay. And when you continue to check his progress, do you see a very similar performance?
Yes.
Objection,
Okay. Regarding your son, how would you describe your son's personality, sir? Meaning Jaden.
Very quiet, not very confident, kind of a loner kid, and just trying to figure things out. Confused, I would say, very confused.
Okay. And are you concerned?
Very concerned.
Okay. Have you also taken your son Jaden to the dentist?
objection leading.
He's
Yes.
transitioning. Hold on. He's transitioning. I'll allow it. Overruled. You may answer that, sir.
Have time frame.
In the
That's
last
the
year,
timeframe.
the last year and a half, sir, have you taken your son to the dentist?
I've taken them all to the dentist, to the eye doctor.
Objection not responsive after to the dentist.
Sustained.
Sir, in the last 4 years, have you taken your son to the dentist and the eye doctor?
Yes, I have.
Okay. And have you informed the mother that you were taking the children to the dentist and the eye doctor?
Time frame.
The last 4
specific
years.
times.
Talking about the last 4 years.
Yes, she knew of the appointments, yes.
Okay. And what was her response in regards to scheduling the appointments to go see the dentist and the eye doctor?
Well, I did the scheduling. She said that she couldn't work. I mean, she had to work, and so I took them.
Okay. So when she testifies that she's the one that takes them to the doctor's appointments and dentist appointments and so forth, is that true?
No, she's only taken them to one dentist appointment.
Okay.
Objection not responsive to the other doctors. He just said one dentist. So is he saying yes to the others?
The objections overruled.
Does your son have a pediatrician?
Yes,
Do you know who the pediatrician is?
yes.
Do you know the last time your son went to go see the pediatrician?
I do not recall.
Okay. Did the mother inform you that your son had a appointment with a pediatrician?
No.
Regarding your son, and I'm going to go both of your children first. Jackson, has Jackson had any health issues in the last year and a half that have drawn you concern?
Yes, rashes, fungus rashes. He's definitely had breathing treatments and breathing problems. And that's all that I can recall right now.
Okay. And regarding your daughter, okay, what is your understanding of her performance at school as you sit here today?
7th and 8th grade, she
Objection,
did.
remote in time.
Today,
Hold on.
today.
Oh, today?
She's asking about today, this right now, how she's doing in school.
Today, she is not doing very well. She has D's and F's.
Objection, non-responsive, not very well.
Overall,
When you say she's not doing very well, what type of grades is she getting right now, today?
60s, and so C's and D's, 60s and
Objection,
70s.
non-responsive to be specific as to what class.
overall. You're gonna get a chance to ask him questions a little bit. You can clarify, but overall.
Do you check the grades on a weekly basis of your daughter, specifically as to every class?
Objection, leading.
Sustained.
Transition question. Do you know the classes that your daughter is currently taking?
Yes, sir.
What are they?
Biology, Spanish, geometry, principles of business, and she has basketball and in English.
Okay. Your son Jackson plays select baseball. Is that true?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Do you attend practices?
Yes, sir.
How involved are you with your son in regards to select baseball?
He won't be playing if it wasn't for me.
What makes you say that or have that opinion, sir?
Well, I'm the one who signed him up, and this will be his 3rd year, and I've paid for every penny the first 2 years, and she's now agreed to pay half of it this year.
Okay. On the basis of your observation, does your son like to play select baseball?
That's his favorite sport. He loves it. That's why I did it.
Okay. You go to the games.
Yes, sir.
Before you filed this lawsuit, did his mama go to the games?
Yes, she attends.
Okay. Do you provide her with a schedule? Or you provide her notice of the games?
We have a app that she can follow the team, and it gives all the schedules of the practices and the games.
Okay. In addition to that, okay, you were a teacher. Where were you a teacher at? What school?
I was at Taj Junior High here in Katy, Texas.
Okay. Besides being a teacher, what subject did you teach?
Taught physical education.
Were you a coach?
Yes, sir.
What did you coach?
I coach football, basketball, and track.
Okay. Regarding your children, okay, between yourself and the mother, who do you believe or have an opinion that got the children involved in the extracurricular activities?
It was definitely me.
Okay. Were you individually involved in their extracurricular activities?
Objection, leading.
Overall.
Yes, I was involved. My daughter didn't play a sport till 7th grade, and I encouraged her to try basketball and
Okay.
track.
You saw some of the records here that there was a concern regarding your daughter's weight. Did you see that?
Yes, sir.
And what did you do once you saw that concern?
Well, one, just try to teach her healthy habits and working out with her when I have her, and then also getting her involved in extracurricular activities as far as athletics in school. And she plays basketball, and she did track this past year.
Okay. Besides this year, okay, your son, Jackson, between yourself and mom, who took him to the practices the majority of the time?
Objection to vague, majority of the time and time frame. And what practice?
Sustained as a time frame.
In the last 18 months between you and mom, okay, which parent would take your son to baseball practice during the week?
We both do. He played in the Katy American League here in Katy. It was a little league, and we both picked him up or dropped him off, took him to games. So we both kind of contribute in that aspect.
Okay. Do you have to travel for the games outside of Katy?
Yes, sir.
What was the farthest game or tournament that y'all had to play for select baseball for your son's league?
Wharton, Texas, about 45 minutes away.
And who has to transport your son to the games?
Either me or her.
Okay. During your period of possession, do you make sure that he goes to the games?
Yes, sir.
Have you ever taken the position that it's your period of possession and you're not going to take him to the games?
No, sir.
Do you think it's in the best interest of your child to continue with that schedule of baseball?
Yes, that's what he loves to do.
Okay. Regarding your son, Jaden, when he's in your possession, what have you done personally in order to help his study habits and improve his grades?
One, like I said, I check him every week. When he comes here on Fridays, he's usually at the table doing his homework, just talking with him, asking him if he has any questions or has any struggles. Just trying to, like I said, just trying to help him. As a dad, I think that's my responsibility.
Okay. As far as you helping your son, do you believe that you're heavily involved in the life of all three of your children, in your opinion?
Objection leading.
In your
Sustained.
opinion? No. What is that? How do you treat your children? Do you treat them differently or equally?
No, I treat them all the same. I love them, and I expect them and have expectations of them, and they're my children. So I just try to be the best dad I can be.
I'm going to put up on the screen P32. Does that photograph truly and accurately portray what it purports to be?
Yes, sir. That's us out to eat, eating sushi.
Objection, non-responsive after yes.
Sustained.
Where was that photograph taken?
We were out to eat for Jaden's, I think it's Jaden's birthday.
Okay. And I'm going to show you what's been marked as P33. Does that photograph portrays and purports to be what it resembles?
Yes, that is Jackson.
Objection, non-responsive after yes.
Which one of your children is in the photograph?
Jackson.
And between the two children that are in the photograph, which one is your son?
He is the one up front. I think he's playing second base right there.
Okay. How would you describe him as a baseball player?
Very talented, driven, wants to be good. And I try to kind of just set him up for success. Whatever I can for him to be successful.
I am going to show you was P12. And Judge, I'm offering P12 not for the truth of the matter being asserted, not for the content of the actual exhibit, but merely regarding my client's contact with teachers.
Objection, hearsay.
And Mr.
All hearsay.
Thomas, you're offering it for the limited purpose to show that your client is in contact with the teachers, not what actually they're.
Yes,
saying.
not what their concerns are or their statements or anything else.
All right, I'm going to overrule the objection, allow it for that limited purpose.
I'd like
P12.
it noted, Judge, it was back in 2020, if that's the one he's referring to, and there's another one from 2019.
I understand, but it's being admitted for the limited purpose of his contacts with the school, not for the content in the exhibit.
Sir, you see P12?
Yes, sir.
That was September 13, 2019, contact with teacher,
Yes, sir.
okay? And I'm going to show you what's been marked as P13. A second.
Objection, hearsay,
Hold on, let's,
not
Offering
business
for the limited-
records.
offering for the limited purpose, Judge, of just the notice between him and the teachers.
No, it doesn't show anything between notice and teacher. It's just, it's grades.
I'm going to go to
It's
P14.
it's school
hold on,
records.
hold on. What is you're offering P13, Mr. Ramos, or are you going to lay predicate for it? What are
I'm
we
going to
doing?
lay the predicate for
All right,
P13.
you may proceed.
Sir, you are in fact a parent of the children involved in this lawsuit. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And there is in fact a portal with the school in which you have access to your children's grades. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And that portal essentially is part of the school policy regarding the children's grades and access to the parents. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And the school is in fact a public school. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And this is in fact a public record that's accessible between yourself and the mother. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Judge, I hereby offer the exhibit P13 as a government record dealing with the school district.
Judge, I'm going to object. It's hearsay the way it is, and it doesn't show any his access or type of contact between himself and the school. And it's school records, and it's
Yeah.
hearsay.
I'm going to
And it
overrule
doesn't even have a date on it.
it sounds to me like it's a grade report from the school related to the children of this suit. The objection to P13 is overruled. P13 is admitted.
Okay. And sir, and which child is this relating to?
This is Jaden's.
Okay. All right. And on the basis of this report card, were you concerned regarding your son's performance?
Very concerned, yes.
Okay, and this dates all the way back to 2020. You see where it says class work average?
Yes.
All right, go to the third one.
Judge, I don't see anything where it has a date. It
Five
says it goes all the
algebra.
way back to 2020. I don't even see a date on it.
Okay, it says 9/29/2020, right underneath that line. You see that? Algebra, reasoning.
It's all remote in time. I'm
Yes,
objecting
sir.
again.
Overruled.
See where it says class work average?
Yes, sir.
What's the class work average for your son?
He has a 0.
Okay, class work average means
Judge,
what?
is he trying to prove up? I mean, this has been admitted, I thought, for the limited purpose of showing that he has contact with the school, but it's a
Not this,
school
not this
document.
exhibit. Not this exhibit. The court's going to allow the grade reports in from the kids because that's a big
What's he
factor. I heard that he was flunking all the classes last year, and I've heard he has A's and B's this year. But I'm going to allow both parties to go into what these kids' grades are because I think that's highly relevant for the court in making a determination in this case. So this is not offered for the limited purpose. This is the grades of Jaden. You may proceed, Mr. Ramos.
Okay, and your son back in 2020 for the year 2020, okay, did he fail every class?
Yes, sir, he did.
You have to go to summer school,
Yes, sir, he did.
okay? And what is your understanding of how many absences your son had that were unexcused for that year?
Objection, speculation.
If you know.
You know, overruled.
37.
How far does the mother live from the school, if you know?
She lives around the corner, so I would say 5 minutes.
Do you think that in your opinion, if a parent lives 5 minutes away from the school, that there should be 37 unexcused absences?
No, sir.
Objection.
Oh,
His opinion.
Overruled.
no, sir, not at all. That's a lot of absences, unexcused absences.
Objection, not responsive after he answered it.
Sustained.
Give his opinion.
Well, 37 absences is.
Okay, objection to him to Mr. Ramos testifying.
I'll move on.
Overruled. Let's ask a question.
P14. Limited purpose judge of my client's contact with the teachers.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear the exhibit. P14?
Yes, sir.
Any objection for the limited purpose of his contact with the teacher, Ms. Lusk?
Which one, Judge? 14? Same
P14?
objection, Judge.
All right, it's
Same
gonna be the
objection,
same
don't
rule.
hearsay.
Same ruling. The court's not going to consider the hearsay from the teachers in there. It's offered or it's being admitted for the limited purpose of showing Mr. Griffin's contact with the school. So P14 is admitted on that limited purpose.
I'm going to show you what's been marked as P15 again for the limited purpose of Mr. Griffin's contact with the school.
Ms. Lusk,
Same objection, and it's dated 2020.
same ruling from the court. It's admitted for its limited purpose.
And when did your son begin online classes, sir?
I'm not really sure, sir. I
Objection,
can't.
non-responsive after I'm not sure.
Sustained.
Did the mother tell you that your son was in fact doing online classes?
No, she did not.
Okay. She does work every day, is that correct?
Yes, she does.
Do you know, or do you have any personal knowledge as to whether or not there are any adults in her home during the course of the day when she's at work?
Objection, speculation.
If he knows.
No, there is not.
As a parent, are you concerned that if your son is getting Fs, that there's no adult
Objection,
supervision?
leading.
Sustained.
Okay. How concerned are you in regards to the
Objection,
mother's?
leading.
Overruled.
How concerned are you in regards to the mother's living environment meeting the needs of your son, Jaden, educationally?
Very concerned, as you can see by his grades.
Objection, non-responsive as you can see after his grades.
Overruled.
Okay. One of your children transition question have the dislocated kneecap.
Objection, specific, which child?
That's what I'm asking. Which
Overruled.
child?
It was Jaden.
Okay. Did he need medical care?
Yes, he needed it looked at. Yes.
Who took your son between yourself and the mother to take a look at his kneecap?
I did.
Regarding, you heard testimony about a therapist by the name of Monica. Is that correct?
Yes, I did hear that.
Okay. When did you learn, or let me ask it this way. How many times did you ask the mother to provide you information regarding the therapist?
I did not
Objection,
ask.
leading.
Overruled.
We were agreed upon in the first hearing that he would be seeing a therapist that he had been seeing before, and she had agreed upon that. So I did not know he was seeing anybody.
So you didn't know that your son was seeing Monica?
No, I did not know.
Okay. So is your testimony here that you can't ask for something that you don't know?
Correct.
Okay. In regards to the assessment by the psychiatrist that was performed in April of this year, where were you informed that your son was actually going to have an assessment or be evaluated by a psychiatrist?
I did not know he was having assessment. I just know that he was prescribed medication the day that he seen him, and I was on my way to pick them up.
Non-responsive after that.
Sustained.
Sir, were you contacted during the actual session between your son and the psychiatrist?
No, sir.
Were you contacted before your son went to go ahead and step into the doors of that office of the psychiatrist?
No, sir.
Were you informed after your son saw the psychiatrist and was prescribed medication?
Yes, that's when I was informed.
Were you informed by the mother?
Yes, that she had to pick up medication for him.
Okay. Did you express concerns regarding the medication your son was on?
Objection, leading.
Sustained.
How'd you feel about being contacted about your son being on medication?
Well, I was very concerned because it was his first time.
Objection, I'm responsive after I was very concerned.
Sustained.
When you say you were very concerned, how were you concerned?
I just couldn't understand how a doctor could prescribe a child medication after 30 minutes, a 30-minute visit. So I was scared for him.
Okay. Regarding your son and the medication, it says in the records your son had a reaction to one of the medications. Did the mother inform you of this?
Jaden actually did.
Objection, non-responsive. Did the mama inform you?
No.
The trip to Mexico that we're discussing, okay? Who scheduled the trip?
I did.
Okay. How did you inform the mother of the trip?
Well, I was getting remarried, and I was telling her that I wanted the kids to be in the wedding, and she signed off on the passports and everything for us to get them the tickets.
Who signed the consent to travel to Mexico?
She did. We went together.
Y'all
And,
went together to get this consent to travel. Where'd y'all go?
we went to a notary, and me, my wife, and her, and we went to sign the paperwork to get it notarized so we can get their passports.
Did you actually physically see her sign the form?
Yes, I was there. Yes, she had to sign them to get it.
Did you obtain the passports?
Yes, I did.
Okay. Did you inform the mother of the trip and the schedule once the children got to Mexico?
Well, they didn't get to Mexico, but I gave her the itinerary of when will we be leaving and coming back.
Okay. What date was the trip scheduled for?
I think we were leaving September 30th, which was a Wednesday.
Okay, hold on. Okay. When did you learn that the mother had withdrawn the consent for your children to travel on this trip?
It was the Friday before, the Friday before we were leaving.
So you're scheduled to leave on a Wednesday. You're notified a Friday before the trip.
Yes, sir.
Okay. And your children did not attend your wedding. Is that true?
Correct.
In your opinion, in the last 2 years, okay, do you feel as a parent that the mother has co-parented with you making decisions regarding your children?
No, she has not.
Is it your opinion that if this order is not changed, that this pattern will continue?
Objection leading.
It's your opinion,
Overruled.
Yes, very much.
okay? Show you what's been marked as P1. I believe P1 has been pre-admitted.
It has.
Sir, is that the relief you are asking from the court?
I can't see anything.
If you could provide me 1 second. Do you see the relief you're requesting from the court?
Yes.
Okay, where it says rights, duties, and conservatorship for final orders, are you requesting, based on the exhibit, joint managing conservators of the children?
Yes.
Okay, and as a matter of fact, you're requesting some of the rights to be joint rights between yourself and the mother. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay. Do you have an opinion as to whether or not it's best for your children to see multiple doctors at simultaneously?
They should not be seeing multiple doctors. If they do, then we should be agreeing upon that.
Okay. And you're also requesting that the mother be awarded a standard possession order schedule?
Say it again.
You're requesting that the mother respondent be awarded a standard possession schedule. That's at the bottom of the page. See that?
Oh, yes. Yes,
Okay.
correct.
You believe the relief you are requesting is in the best interest of your children?
Correct.
Judge, I passed the witness, so I have.
Ms. Lusk, your witness. Well, you know what? Let's do this. We've been going for a while.
Okay,
Let's let the witnesses and parties and lawyers take a break. Let's come back at
three.
no, we need let's do 3:05. We're off the record
Okay.
until 3:05.
All right, thank you.
Court's back on the record in the Griffin matter. Ms. Lust, we're going to pick up where we left off. You're on the cross-examination now of the petitioner. You may proceed when you're ready.
Okay, thank you, Judge. Mr. Griffin, when is Jaden's birthday?
November 1st,
What year?
2003,
When is Brooklyn's birthday?
September 29th,
What?
September 29th,
When is Jackson's birthday?
December 8th,
What year?
2008.
Okay. I'm not being, I know you're like a jock and that you've done extracurricular activities and jocks and football stuff your whole life. And
No
you
objection.
coach.
There's no question on the floor.
I'm
No
coming.
no sidebar, just ask your question.
And so do you think it's unusual that you encouraged them to do extra curricular activities which involve sports?
Judge, I don't object, argumentative.
Overruled. You may answer that, sir.
Do I think it's what?
Do you think it's unusual because of what you've done in your life do you think that's unusual that you tried to get the kids to do extracurricular activities?
No, ma'am, not at all.
Well,
Sports.
did you testify that if it wasn't for you, the kids wouldn't be in any extracurricular activities?
Yes, I did.
Okay, so are you like you think that's a great feat, or you're all,
No, ma'am, I didn't mean.
Judge, I don't object. That's argumentative and insulting.
Abstain.
it's not.
Objection, sidebar.
So, but do you think that that's a big deal? That you encourage them to do that makes you a better parent?
No, ma'am, not at all.
Okay. So it's good that they do it, right?
Yes, they want to do it. They enjoy doing it.
And Kristen participates wholeheartedly in having the kids do that. True?
I wouldn't say that's true.
Why? What has she done to stop them being in any type of sports?
Well, there was instances that if,
Recently, within the last 2 years.
yes.
What has she done to stop them?
She refused to pay or say she doesn't have the money to pay for the sport.
Okay, so what has she done to stop them from participating? She might not have money and then you can pay for it, but what has she done to stop?
Objection, Judge. Objection. Ask and answer and argumentative at this time.
Sustain. Are you asking for what other issues has he had, or that? I'm
Yeah, what
confused because he's already answered that question.
Okay, so she says she doesn't have money?
Objection, Judge. Ask and answer.
No, she doesn't. She says she doesn't take.
Objection, ask and answer.
Sustain.
You said that you take, I believe, Jackson to practices. Do you take them when it's not your possession and access during the week, when you don't have those kids? Do you take any of them to take Jackson to practice?
Yes, I have.
When's the last time you took him to practice when it wasn't your time, your possession?
I can't recall. He has a lot of practices, but I take him.
Well, you can't recall it all?
No, I can't recall the last time I took him, but he has a lot of baseball practices that I take him to.
Okay, when does he have baseball practice?
Right now he's in fall ball season, so he has practices Wednesdays and Saturdays.
Okay, and Wednesdays from what time?
7 to 9, I think.
So are you telling us that you pick him up at 9 o'clock and bring him home?
No, he's with his mother on Wednesdays, so she takes him.
And so you don't take him on Wednesdays? You just said you did,
No, I said there's sometimes I do take him.
and then you just said she takes him.
Yes, she does take him also.
When's the last time you?
He plays in two leagues. He played for Acadian American League that I took him to practice, took him to games, picked him up. So it's a collective. I don't know how you want to say it. Collective group effort.
No, it's not really. Isn't it true that she takes
Objection,
the
that's
majority of the
argument.
time?
Sidebar.
Sustain. No sidebars. Just let's ask questions.
Isn't it true? She takes them the majority of the time. She takes Jackson the majority of the time.
Objection,
Ball
ask and answer, Judge.
ball just started like 2 weeks ago, so she has taken him the last 2 Wednesdays. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and you were teaching, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And you were teaching phys ed, correct?
Correct.
And coaching. And where was that?
It's called Taj Junior High here in Katy, Texas.
And why'd you quit?
Had a better opportunity.
What do you mean? What's a better opportunity?
Better opportunity for me and my family.
What is a better opportunity? What happened?
Just a better opportunity for me that I felt, in my opinion.
Objection non-responsive. What made it a better non-responsive? Judge?
Go ahead. She's asking what made it a better opportunity, in your opinion.
Development, better development.
Objection, non-responsive development.
I think he answered, Judge.
What's development? I believe
You
he's
want
being vague, Judge. I don't have an answer.
I overruled it. I think he answered it, but if you're asking, now you're asking him, what do you mean by development, sir?
Development as a person, as a man. As a man, I think you should definitely want to develop and evolve. And so I took opportunity to better myself and better my family.
Okay, you didn't better yourself that much in your salary, right?
No, I did not. But
So
this profession, not coaching, will give me more time with my kids.
Okay.
So that's what I mean by betterment.
What capacity did you're working at Frito-Lay, right?
Judge, I don't object. That's insulting and argumentative.
Overruled.
I'm in sales.
At Frito-Lay?
Yes,
Which
ma'am.
office? Which office?
West Belford.
Okay, and what do you do in sales?
I sell chips and I service accounts.
And so how is this better development?
Objection, that's been asked and answered. Gets to spend
Sustained.
more time with his family.
What are your hours?
It depends.
No, you don't have a set schedule?
Oh, it depends. Sometimes I get off early, sometimes it's later, but I'll usually work from like 4 in the morning to about 2 afternoon or 3, which frees up my evenings, which allows me to spend more time with my kids and attend baseball games and practices and all that. Before I wasn't able to do that when I was coaching.
And then you weren't able to take them either, right? If you were coaching and you were busy, you weren't able to take them to their practices and so forth, right?
Objection,
No.
Judge, been asked and answered.
Sustained.
Okay, what is your job title?
I'm in training right now.
Asked and answered. Sales.
Overruled. Overruled. Do you have a title, sir?
Sales leader.
And you're in training?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you expect to get a raise in the next 30 days?
No,
When are you going to get a raise?
I don't know.
Okay, and do you get commission if you're in sales?
No, not right now.
And do you enjoy this work?
Yeah, so far so good. I'm learning a lot. So it's a bit different from teaching and coaching, but I'm learning every day.
Okay, do you have to work on the weekend?
No, I don't.
Now, your visitation orders allowed you Thursdays, and we had testimony that you've never done any Thursdays from 6 to 8 even, and you've never visited with those kids during that time. Is that true?
Yes. When
It's
I was,
true.
that's why I took a job that could better time for me and my kids, because on Thursdays we have games and have practice, and a lot of the time the kids have games and practices on Thursdays too. So that day was kind of off limits for all of us.
So you're telling this court that from 2015 until 2021 now that you could not go see those kids on a Thursday ever?
Yes, ma'am. I've been teaching since 2015, and we usually have practice till about 6:37. I don't get home until about 8.
Mhm. Did you ever ask if you could see them at a different time or a different day?
No, I didn't.
Why not? If it was so important for you to see them, why not?
Because I had to work and they had activities
All the time. And you didn't ask, right?
most of the time.
Objection, Judge, that's been asked and answered.
Sustained.
And you also did not have what's called an expanded possession order. You could have had them more time, like Sundays overnight, and you never did that either, did you?
Judge, I want to object. The order speaks for itself.
Sustained.
Did you ever ask for any more time on Sundays overnight?
They stay with me on Sundays when they don't have school the next day on Monday.
Yeah, but otherwise they don't, right?
Well, it's not in the decree.
I know, but you could have had that and you didn't ask for it.
Judge, I'm going to object. The order speaks for itself.
Sustained.
You have a new child now, don't you?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and how old's that baby?
He's 3 months.
Okay. And don't you have a lot of responsibility with having this 3-month-old at the moment?
Judge, I'm going to object on grounds of relevance. That child is not the subject of this lawsuit, only for child support purposes that she asked for that deduction.
Overruled. You may answer that, sir.
Can you repeat the question, please?
Said you have a new baby, 3 months old. Don't you have a lot of responsibility with that baby now?
Yes, I do.
Okay, and you saying that you want that responsibility of a new baby and you're going to be able to handle that, and you want 3 more kids?
Well, yeah, I have a wife here who's willing to help me and is a great help. So yes.
Well, what's the wife got to do with anything? I'm asking you. You have a brand new baby with responsibilities to this baby, and you are asking for 3 more kids to come live over there in this house?
Judge, I think objection, ask and answer.
Sustained.
Yes, yes, ma'am. I mean, he doesn't.
Objection, non-responsive after yes,
So
ma'am.
if the objection is sustained, that means wait for the next question.
Do you realize that this isn't about your wife? This is about you?
I don't understand the question.
This is your responsibility, not your wife's, something you have to put on your wife. Do you realize that?
Oh, I know. I don't put that on her.
Who takes care of the baby now?
We both do.
And how do you do that when you're at work?
Well, while I'm at work, she's here with them.
She
And then
works at home, right?
Judge, I'm objecting ground of relevance.
Sustained.
Sometimes.
Objection, non-responsive.
Sustained.
Do you believe you should pay child support based on guidelines?
Yes, ma'am.
Are you trying to do this to avoid any further obligations in paying child support?
No, ma'am. I've never missed a child support payment ever, so I don't have a problem with child support.
I'm saying, are you asking for kids so that you can try to get child support from Kristen?
Objection, Judge, ask and answer. He said no. Now, regarding his child support.
Overruled. Yeah, she's asking about now about mom paying him child support. So overruled. You may answer.
Oh,
that, sir.
no, not at all.
No, what?
I'm not doing this to get child support from her.
Okay, so you wouldn't want any child support from her.
I'm not answering that. That's not the
I'm
question.
asking you that. I'm asking you that question. You wouldn't want any child support because you're not doing it to get any child support, right?
I'm not doing it to get child support. That's my answer to that question.
My question is, so you would not want child support from Kristen?
No, I
Okay.
don't know.
You don't know or no?
I don't know. Child support is not like a big issue to me. So you asked me that now.
I'm asking you now in trial. Are you saying you don't want child support from Kristen?
I'm not filing this lawsuit in regards of child support.
Objection non-responsive.
Sustained.
Are you saying you don't want child support from Kristen?
Well, if I was the primary, I would
Yes or
want,
no? Are you saying yes or no?
yes, I would want child support for her.
Okay, so you just changed your story. Before you said you didn't.
No,
It's-
Judge, that objection mischaracterizes the testimony. He said he didn't file it for purposes of child support.
Sustained. I mean, the court heard the testimony, so the objection is sustained.
You heard your attorney accuse Kristen of being out for money and greedy because she asked for more child support since she hadn't got an increase from you since 2015 for these 3 kids.
Objection, Judge, that's mischaracterizes. I didn't testify.
Sustained.
It was in his opening argument. Do you believe
That's
she's,
not, that is not evidence. Objection.
do you believe she's out for money and greedy for child support because she asked for an increase in child support?
Yes, because I pay a lot more. I pay more in child. I pay child support and I do over and beyond child support.
Well, she does too. Didn't we have testimony that she also helps pay for the children's extracurricular activities?
This is the first year
Yes
she's,
or no, okay, but she does, correct?
this was the first year she.
Time frame, objection time frame.
Sustained.
So you believe she's out for money and greedy?
Objection, Judge, been asked and answered.
Sustained.
Did she ever previously ask for an increase from you?
Judge, objection, the evidence speaks for itself.
Overruled. You may answer that, sir.
What was the question again?
Did she ever previously ask for an increase for your 3 kids in child support before?
I don't recall her ever asking.
Okay, so the answer is no? The answer no?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, besides the income that you receive for Frito-Lay, do you have any other side jobs?
No, I don't.
Now, let's talk about you receive, how much extra do you get in a check for some type of settlement every month?
It's not a.
I don't object on grounds of relevance. That's for a disability.
That's a
I don't
disability.
know.
I don't know that yet, so overruled. You may answer that, sir.
Yeah, it's not a settlement. It's a disability.
Where did it come from?
I was diagnosed with a 0.5 neurocognitive disability.
A what?
It's a scale that they measured me at. I had to see certified doctors, and they diagnosed me with a disability.
What's your disability?
It's a neurocognitive disability. I don't know the word, but it's a disability.
Okay, something wrong with your head, right? Neurocognitive? So how
Judge, I
does
don't
that?
object. That's being argumentative in
I'm
sidebar.
not. I'm saying-
Overruled. I don't think she intended it that way, or I didn't take it that way.
So I'm
Overruled.
saying, because of this disability that you have, is this for a permanent disability?
Is it for a permanent disability?
Yeah, is this considered a permanent disability or a short-term disability?
Objection, Judge, that calls for a medical conclusion.
Yeah, I don't.
Sustained, unless you know, sir.
Yes, I don't know.
Okay, so how much do you receive?
Judge, I'm gonna object on grounds of relevance. It's a disability.
Overruled.
How much do you receive, sir?
2,700.
2,700?
Yes,
Is that, it's not exactly that, isn't it more?
it's around there. Yeah.
A month?
Yes.
And is this money infinite?
No.
Well, how long will you get it then?
Judge, I'm gonna object. That's asking for a medical conclusion.
No,
Overruled. Overruled. Do you know how long you're going to get the payment?
No, I don't.
you didn't find out?
Judge, I'm
Yeah.
gonna,
I don't know. I can find out, but I don't know.
You weren't curious to know how long you were going to get this money?
No,
that's been asked and answered.
Overruled.
no, the answer was no.
You weren't, okay, so. What is your, how does this disability affect you daily?
Judge, I'm gonna object on grounds of a medical diagnosis.
Overruled. Sir, I want you to just tell me if you have any observations of things that you notice that how it's impacting you. If you have any that you're aware of.
The only thing I'm aware of is I'm forgetful sometimes.
In what way? What do you forget? You
Judge, I'm gonna
forget to turn
object on
off the
grounds of
stove?
relevance. Judge,
Sustained.
Huh?
Say it again.
objection, Judge.
You get this
Relevant.
settlement for being forgetful?
Objection, Judge, relevance, ask and answered.
Sustained.
Was this from NFL head damage? concussion damage type thing? Is this that settlement, that concussion settlement from the NFL?
No, no,
Objection, Judge, is mischaracterizes the evidence.
I asked,
She's
has a
asking.
disability.
overruled.
what is this settlement? What is this is an NFL, the NFL, NFL concussion
concussion
settlement?
settlement. No, it's not the concussion settlement. It's the disability.
Well, then you must have a disability for them to award you so much money every month.
Judge, it calls for speculation.
Forgetfulness, or I could apply for it, huh?
Speculation, but Judge, in a sidebar on top of that, 'cause you
Sustained.
don't play in the NFL.
Sustained. Hold on. I've already heard what it's about. I think I've heard enough of this settlement. I got it.
Okay.
If you think it's gonna, well. that's
What
all.
other ways does this disability affect you beside forgetfulness?
Judge, I'm going to object. That's been asked and answered. She asked. That's what he said.
Overruled. Are there any others, is what she's asking, that you know of?
Not that I know of.
What other, do you have any physical disabilities?
Physical disabilities? No, I don't.
Does this forgetfulness affect your daily routine in any way?
Not really.
Now, you both have independent rights, powers, and duties currently, right?
Yes.
Is there anything in there, in your independent rights, powers, and duties that say you have to get in agreement or confer with the other prior to taking care of the kids in the way you feel possible?
Judge, I'm going to object. The document speaks for itself.
Response, Ms. Lusk?
Judge, they're making such a big deal that he didn't tell her and she didn't tell him. And so where does it say they have to tell? That's why I'm asking him. Where does it say?
Judge, I put the document
Objection
on.
sustained.
Huh?
Objection sustained.
Do you currently, or in the last 2.5 years, belittle Kristen Griffin?
Judge, I'm going to object to the form of the question and leading.
Overruled.
No, ma'am, not at all.
Do you tell Kristen Griffin that she will never amount to anything?
Not at all, ma'am.
Have
We
you
don't.
ever? Have
Judge, I'm going to
you?
object. That's been asked and answered and argumentative.
Sustained, asked and answered.
Do you tell the children that they will never amount to anything?
Not at all.
Have you ever told them that?
Judge, I'm
No.
going to object. That's been asked and answered.
Sustained.
Have you sat the kids down to have a family conference?
I have talked to my kids.
Judge, I'm going to object to the form of the question. It's vague and ambiguous.
Overruled. You may answer that, sir.
Yes, I have talked to my kids. Yes.
Okay, and in the last 2.5 years, have you discussed with them that you want them to live with them?
No, I have not said I want them to live with me. I said I wanted more time with them.
So if they said, you said that they'd be lying?
Judge, I'm going to object. That calls for hearsay.
Sustained.
So you want more time with them, but you have an opportunity to have more time with them. And what did you do about it? You didn't even,
Judge, I'm going to object. That's been asked and answered. He couldn't do it. He was
Sustained.
football coach.
Sustained.
couldn't do anything. You could have had Thursday nights and you could have.
Objection
had-
argumentative, Judge.
Sustained.
What else did you say to them when you have these why do you have a family conference in the first place? You gather all the kids together and what do y'all do? Sit down and then what are you discussing?
Well, we discuss a lot of things. I mean, I get them on the weekend, so I like to spend time with them, talk with them. But we talk about family issues.
Like what?
Us as a family, we talk about, grades, definitely grades and where they're at in their progress in school. We talk about sports. We talk about what our plans on this summer. We talk about the baby when the baby was coming. So there's a lot of things that we talk about.
And how long do these conferences usually last?
Judge, I'm objecting grounds of relevance.
Overruled. You may answer that. How long do they last?
I'm not sure, maybe I'm not really sure. I don't keep time of it.
Have you not mentioned to the kids that you want them to come live with them?
Judge, I'm going to object. That's been asked and answered.
Sustained.
Have you told the kids that you don't think it's good for them to live with their mother?
I have not said that.
Have you said something to that effect?
Judge,
I
I'm gonna
told-
object. That's been asked and answered.
Overruled.
I told him I would like to spend more time with them, have more time with them.
That was it, that one sentence?
Judge, I'm going to object. That's been asked and answered.
Sustained.
Do you ever put down their mother?
Judge, I
front of the
object.
kids.
That's been asked and answered.
Sustained.
There was an incident between you and Brooklyn concerning her keys. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Judge, I'm going to object. Time frame.
In the last 2.5 years?
No, ma'am, I have no clue what you're talking about.
Did you ever suggest that she stole the keys or you stole her keys?
Judge, I'm going to object. It's also speculation at this point in time. These
Overruled.
facts not into evidence.
Overruled. You may answer that if you know, sir.
I don't know. I don't know what you're talking about.
Do you know if your wife Ashley told the kids that when the baby comes, that baby was going to have the brand new bedroom because that baby will be a full-time resident versus the kids?
Objection, Judge. It calls for hearsay.
Sustained.
Do you have any personal knowledge of that?
No, she never said that.
You don't know, though. You weren't there all the time, right?
Objection, Judge. Ask and answer, speculation and hearsay.
Have you ever been denied your possession and access,
Possession of access, what does that mean?
visitation?
No.
Does Kristen send you bills and say, can you reimburse me the 50% and you don't respond?
Yes, and I've sent her bills and she does the same thing.
Okay, but you're the one with the insurance, correct?
Correct.
So why would she pay you 50% when you're the one getting reimbursed from insurance?
Judge, I'm going to object to the form of that question and as leading. We're talking about uninsured portion of medical expenses. We're talking about premiums. We're talking about what?
No, we're talking about,
Overruled. But overruled as far as leading, but if you can clarify your question, are you talking about uninsured copays?
yes, that's one of them. When she pays out $50 and sends you a bill saying I paid $50, can you reimburse me? Are you reimbursed 100% from your account?
Objection, relevance. The order speaks for itself.
Overruled.
I'm only reimbursed for what I pay, so I can't reimburse. If she pays, I can't have a receipt that says Kristen Griffin on it and send it in and get reimbursed. It's only
No,
what I,
Kristen Griffin for the children. We're talking for the
Objection,
children.
argumentative.
yes, ma'am, but
Overruled.
it shows that she pays. I can't send her receipt in to my health reimbursement and get reimbursed for what she paid. Only
Then
for what
what is she supposed to do if she has to take the kids to the doctor and she has to pay? Are you
Well, she-
telling us that she
Objection,
can't go
Judge.
pay and then your insurance?
Objection, relevance. She pays and then he reimburses her.
Sustained. There's not, it's
Don't
not an
reimburse her.
enforcement.
You just said you
Hold
don't
on, it's-
reimburse her.
We're not here on enforcement, though. We're not gonna get into
No, but there's
this.
an issue here, Judge, because this is what goes on. He
Objection,
doesn't,
argumentative, Judge.
I allowed a little bit of it. I allowed a little bit of it for the co-parenting aspect, but it's not an enforcement action, and I've heard what I need to hear on that topic. Let's move on.
you should do an enforcement. When she sends you texts and tries to communicate with you, do you blow her off or do you answer her?
Objection, time
The
frame.
last
Judge.
2.5 years.
Issues.
What?
The form of the question, Judge, vague and ambiguous.
When she
Overruled.
sends
You
you
may answer that.
texts,
sends me checks.
texts.
Oh, text. No, I respond if it needs to be responded.
Well, if it has to do with the children, do you respond or is it just something you feel you need to talk to her? You decide if you should talk to her.
Well, if I need to respond, I respond. If it has something to do with the kids and it needs a response, then I'll respond.
Do you answer her phone calls?
She doesn't call me.
Did you not used to answer her phone calls?
Judge, I'm going to object.
What's
Judge,
the objection?
your objection at this point in time is ask and answer and relevance.
Overruled.
Yes, I've answered her phone calls.
When's the last time you've answered her phone call?
I don't even recall the last time she called me.
Mm. She maybe stopped because you don't answer her phone calls?
Judge, calls for speculation, then testify.
Can you discuss situations with her amicably concerning these kids?
No, I don't know. There's a lot of things that I don't know that goes on with the kids that I find out afterwards.
Well, I'm not asking you that. I'm saying, can you discuss things with her concerning the kids amicably?
I've tried.
What have
I've
you tried? What have you tried to discuss with her amicably?
Well, with the issues with Jaden, I tried to discuss with her what are the plans going forward. What should we do? She, when he said, text me about him hurting himself, I called her and she thought he was manipulating or making it up because she caught him stealing money. So there's
But
multiple.
you're blaming her all the time. You're blaming her all the time.
That's argumentative. And he answered the question, ask and answer.
Sustained.
Okay, I'm asking you, okay, let's talk. Why would you want an exclusive right after consultation to medical, dental, and surgical? You don't think she can handle the children's medical needs?
The exclusive right, ma'am? Is that what you
Yes.
said?
Isn't that what you're asking for? I see that you're asking for an exclusive right.
Judge, may I refer to my P1 briefly?
It actually says the joint right on medical, dental, and surgical, Ms. Lusk.
Joint right after consultation with the other parent to consent.
Right, that's a joint right, not an exclusive right.
Why would you think you can both talk? You can't even talk amicably, and you think you can both talk to discuss this after consultation with the other parent to consent to medical, dental, and surgical? If you don't agree and she doesn't agree, who's going to break the tie?
Judge, I'm going to object. That's argumentative. Legal conclusion.
Ms. Lusk, I think it's got a lot, more than one question. And if you can break that down for him, please.
You've asked for the joint right after consultation with the other parent conservator to consent to medical, dental, and surgical treatment involving invasive procedures. What does that mean to you?
Correct. I want to have a right. I want to have a right or a say on what goes on with my kids medically, because, like I said, I'm worried for him. So, as a father, I want that right.
Are you saying you want the right to deny whether or not you can
No.
consent?
I want the right to jointly come up with a conclusion of what's best for the kids. Right now, I don't have that right. She can go and do pretty much anything she wants, and I'm out of the loop.
Why are you out of the loop? You have an independent right currently.
Judge, I'm going to object. That's been asked and answered.
Sustained.
What does independent mean to you?
Judge, I'm going to object. I asked for a legal conclusion.
Sustained.
Did someone tell you you can't do anything?
Objection, hearsay.
No. Well,
Overruled.
where's your understanding that you can't do anything? That you can't take them to the doc, that you
Well,
don't have a choice?
Well, he's seeing 3 different psychiatrists, ma'am, and so that's alarming to me.
Yeah,
If
but
I
that's
don't,
not what this says.
I want to have a say in into what doctor he sees and if that doctor is good for him or not. I don't have that right. He's seeing 4 different psychiatrists, man.
What do you mean you don't have that right? You have a right to contact that doctor, don't you?
Yeah, I don't know if he sees them though, man. I've not been informed if he sees a psychiatrist, who he sees, when
You
he
have. You
sees.
even said, isn't it true that Jaden even tells you, you know who she sees? She says she testified that she told
Judge,
you.
I'm going to object on grounds of hearsay. Jaden's told him.
Well, sustained.
He said he did. He said,
Objection, hearsay.
do you know that, you know which, did you know Dr. Simmons?
I knew after the fact. Yes, I do know Dr.
What do you mean
Simmons.
after the fact?
I didn't know they were going to the doctor, and when I found out, I attended a doctor's appointment with them.
One doctor's appointment, right?
Judge, I don't object. That's been asked and answered.
Sustain.
What about Dr. Marcellus?
I had no clue about him until after.
Does she
the fact.
have any clue as to who you're taking Jaden to?
Yes, ma'am. We agreed upon that at the hearing.
Agreed upon what, at what hearing?
The judge said what she agreed for him to see a counselor that he had already be seeing, and she said that she agreed.
What hearing?
I don't know, Rick. What was the hearing? The first
Can
hearing?
answer that for you,
No,
sir.
you can't ask questions, Mr. Griffin. If you don't know the answer, it's okay to say, I don't know.
It was the first hearing that we had.
We didn't have a hearing for temporary orders? For census modification? There was no hearing.
Judge,
Yeah.
it's asking for a legal conclusion.
Sustain.
And it's at court and a hearing is different.
When did you, what? When did you tell
When-
her who you were taking Jaden to?
After he sent me that text, I said I was setting up an appointment with him, with a counselor, and she was fine with that. And I got,
What, wait a minute, are you,
it was
who
Houston
sent
Center.
you a text? You said after he sent you a text, who?
No, I didn't say that. I said I had let her know after Jaden had sent me the text about him hurting himself. I told her that I was setting him up a counselor,
Okay,
setting up the counselor,
and
and
when
she
did you
knew,
tell her who it was?
she knew who he was seeing when I told her.
When did you tell her?
I can't recall when I told her.
And you told her exactly who you were taking Jaden to?
Yes, ma'am.
Who is it?
Her name is Claudia Taverner, and she works for the Houston Center of Christian Counseling.
Okay. So did Claudia ever reach out to ask Kristen, do you know, to go to counseling?
Objection, Judge. That's also speculation.
Sustain.
Is she, what is she? She's not a psychiatrist, is she?
Judge, I'm going to object. That's asking for a medical conclusion on his part.
Overruled.
What is he? What is she?
She's a family therapist.
Is she a doctor?
Judge, ask and answer, and he's answered that question.
Sustain.
Okay. And how long did have you taken him to her? Jaden to her?
I don't recall how long it's been. It's maybe been over a year or so.
And how's that working for you?
Objection, form of the question is vague and ambiguous, Judge.
Overruled.
How's that working for you?
I'm very well. I mean, I think he's getting better. I sit in the counseling sessions with him. We actually do it together sometimes. So,
So how do you know if it's going to Miss Taverner that's getting better after a year, or for him going to Dr. Marcellus and Monica? How do you know?
Judge, I'm going to object to the form of the question. One's been going for a year, the other one since April 2021.
No, that Dr.
Hold on. The question's how does he know? So I'll allow it if he's got an opinion. Overruled.
I can't say I know it's getting better, but I believe so.
Okay, and that's all you're doing for Jaden, is that right?
What do you mean that's all I'm doing for him?
Well, you're quick to blame everyone else for Jaden's mental health issues, but what else are you doing for Jaden besides taking him to this Claudia Taverner?
Objection, relevance. He can't do anything because he's prescribed medication he didn't know about.
Judge, he's testifying on behalf of, Mr. Ramos is testifying. I'm asking him, what else has he done for this child where he has independent rights?
I overruled the objection. You may answer that, sir.
Just being involved in his schoolwork, talking to his counselors, talking to his teachers on what they see, what they observe. And
Okay, the last email we saw was from 2020. And the point is, okay, so just talking to your teachers, you know what his grades are. What have you done if you know his grades were so bad last year and you're so concerned? Besides talking to teachers a year ago, what have you done?
Judge, I'm going to object. That's been asked and answered. He calls him on the phone and see if he's finished his homework, not finished his homework. I mean,
Well, we addressed it on your direct. I don't think Ms. Lusk has addressed it, so I'm going to allow it a
yes, sir.
little bit. Sir, you may answer that.
Well, this past summer, I got him a tutor from Mathnasium. So those are the things that I try to provide.
He was
For-
in summer school too, right?
Yes, he was in summer
Yeah.
school for the past
For
2 years.
what class was he in summer school for?
I believe it was English and algebra.
Okay, so he was in algebra and you got him a tutor for how long?
For the summer,
Okay, and that was for one class, right?
yes.
And you knew he was failing last year. What did you do last year when you knew he was failing? What actions did you take if you were so concerned about his schooling? Beside talking to his teacher as to what you found out how he does, what more or what could you have done that she couldn't have done?
Well, like I said, I provided him with a tutor for those classes, and he ended up passing.
Well, he was going to pass anyway. He went to summer school, right?
That's not necessarily meaning he's going to pass summer.
He was only in one. Okay.
I don't object. That's argumentative and it calls for speculation.
What
Overall,
about last year when he was in school and he was failing? What did you do with that during all that time when he was failing? What did you do about that?
Judge mischaracterizes the evidence. He testified he didn't even know he was online schooling.
What? He what?
overruled, but I've heard he said that the objection's overruled. You may answer that, sir.
Well, I would call him, making sure he's doing his work. If he needed
You
help,
weren't there. How do you know he wasn't
Judge, I
lying?
don't want to object. Let him finish the
Just
answer.
saying, he needs to finish his question, Ms. Lusk. Finish his answer. I'm sorry.
like I said, I would call him during the week, on the weekends, making sure he's doing his work. And trying to, just like I said, trying to help him as much as possible. But I'm very active in I'm the one who checks his grades weekly and making sure that he's staying on task.
Well, it didn't work if you were checking it last year, right? When he was failing all of it and he's not on task, right?
Well,
Is that right?
correct, ma'am. I can't do.
Okay, and if you're calling him all the time and asking what he's doing, but you're not there with him, and you're calling him, evidently that's not working either.
Judge, I'm going
Right?
to object on grounds of relevance. He doesn't have custody during the week.
Overruled.
Exactly. I'm not there, so I can't really do
Oh.
much other than call.
Okay,
So that's
so
all I do.
but you knew how he was doing. What could you have done that you think you're a better parent? What could you have done? This kid has mental health issues, evidently. What could you have done? Because you haven't done anything except talk to some teachers and say you called him.
Judge, I'm going to object on argumentative. Ask and
Sustained.
answer.
Sustained.
Do you have a plan as to what you can do that would be better for this child that you didn't do before?
Well, yes, I do have a plan. Just
What's the plan?
being more active in his life and making sure he's doing his work. As of right now, no one is making sure he's doing it, getting his work done.
And how do you know that? You're not
Because
there. You're
well,
not
he-
there.
he has
Objection,
zeros.
argumentative, Judge.
Hold on. I can't hear. There's too many people talking at once. The question is, how do you know? And I haven't heard his answer yet.
Well, ma'am, I check his grades every week, and he has tons of missing assignments and tons of zeros. So that's how I know.
Okay, but you don't do anything about it, right?
Objection, Judge. Been asked and answered.
Sustained.
So are you like a lot of parents are saying this kid needs to be around a man and I'll show him how to be a man. Is this you? Is this what you think? If he was around you, he'd do better?
Judge, I'm going to object on grounds of relevance, argumentative, it's insulting. It relates to other men.
Insulting.
It's not
It's what
specific.
a lot of men say. They
Over-
think if
hold
they were
on.
around a
Ms.
man, they'll do
Lusk,
better.
Ms. Lusk, I'll ask for argument after an objection if I need it. The objection's overruled. You may answer that, sir.
No, ma'am, I don't portray that. I just hold myself accountable as a parent, and I try to set my kids up to be successful.
But that has not worked, has it?
Been asked and answered, Judge. Objection.
Sustained.
Okay, so I haven't heard anything you've done for Brooklyn. Jackson evidently doesn't need any help. It doesn't sound like he has any problems. Is that correct?
No, not of right now.
Right, and he hasn't had any problems, right?
No, he hasn't.
Okay, so Jackson's fine. So what, I don't hear any concern for the other kids. I hear, Brooklyn, what have you done for Brooklyn?
Well, there is concern, man, because like I said,
Objection,
they're
not
home.
responsive. What
Objection,
have you
Judge,
done
she's not trying to answer the question. What
Well,
is it concerned
sustained.
about?
She's asking, what have you done for Brooklyn? So that's
Brooklyn.
what I want you to focus on answering that one. Mr. Griffin.
What have I done for Brooklyn? Again, with schoolwork, making sure she attends school, making sure she's going to tutoring and checking her grades weekly and talking to teachers.
And that didn't stop her from you. I heard testimony that you were the one that bumped her up into the AP classes
Well,
that she can't handle now?
no, ma'am. In 7th grade, I did advise her to take AP classes just because the students really care about their grades in AP classes, and I wanted her to be in an environment where kids actually care. Because like I said, I work in a junior high, so I understand what these
She's in
AP.
ninth grade.
But
Right,
this
she's
was-
in ninth grade now. And is she taking was she taking in ninth grade, signed up for AP classes that were, is that right?
Yes, ma'am. She started taking AP classes in 7th.
And how'd she get into those AP classes? And no, I'm talking now. She's having issues now in ninth grade.
Judge, I'm going to object to the form of the question. I don't understand the question.
The question is, did he get her, how did she get into AP classes in ninth grade?
Objection, that's been asked and answered. She's been in it since 7th grade. Of course, she goes every year. She goes into AP.
No,
Overall, I don't know that he said that he's signed her up or encouraged her to sign up for the 9th grade AP. So I'll allow him to answer that.
did you?
In 9th grade, no, I didn't sign her up for AP classes. 7th and 8th grade, I did.
Okay, I didn't ask that. So what happened in ninth grade? She signed up and now she can't handle it, right?
Objection, Judge, mischaracterizes the evidence. Nobody signed her up.
Well, she had to get into them.
Hold on. Objections overruled. You may answer that, sir.
I don't know how she got into AP classes in 9th grade.
Well, it was too difficult for her. Have you been in touch with the teachers about that?
Yes, ma'am. I have emails for the teachers. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and now she's not in the AP classes. Who got her out of the AP classes?
The counselor took her out.
So you didn't do it. You didn't do it,
Judge,
right?
I'll object. That's been asked and answered. Now she's argumentative.
Sustain his
Isn't it
argument.
true her mother got her out of the AP classes? Do you know if her mother got her out of the AP classes?
No, her counselor did.
But didn't her mother have to go to the counselor to discuss this and get her out of the AP class?
Judge, I'm going to object. That's also speculation.
Sustain.
Hearsay.
Well, do you know if her
No,
mother
I-
did? Okay. Do you ever get the kids for the weekend and leave them at someone else's house so you can go do what you want to do?
Judge, I'm going to object to the form of the question. That's argumentative.
Let's not.
Overruled.
No, ma'am.
You haven't done that. Haven't dropped them
No.
off at someone else's house so you can,
Objection, Judge. That's been asked and answered.
Sustain.
so you don't have a degree in math or anything, right?
Judge, I'm going to object. That's argumentative.
Well, You don't have a s-
Overruled. You may answer that.
you don't have a specialization in math, right? Do you?
I have a degree in education.
No, I didn't ask, non-responsive. Do you have a specialization
Sustain.
in math?
No,
Can you tutor algebra?
no,
Can you tutor geometry?
no.
Okay, so how could you even check homework in these certain areas that you have no expertise in to know if they're even right or wrong?
There's online tools, and my wife,
Well, your wife.
yeah,
Back
she
to your-
helps.
You're back to your wife. Your wife has a new baby and you're saying that you want your wife to help him with their homework?
No, she also helps the kids too. The kids actually come to her for.
But she doesn't have a degree. I mean, she's not a tutor in math, is she? or algebra? It's your
Uh,
responsibility, correct?
Yes, it's my responsibility, but she's my spouse and she also loves my kids. So
Well, I
she
didn't
helped.
say that. I'm just talking about helping them in school. You're
Judge,
not able
objection
to
has
do
been
that.
asked and answered and argumentative at this time.
Let's ask the next question, Ms. Lusk.
Are you able to speak a foreign language?
No, ma'am.
So you couldn't help them with that either, right? Are you a scientist? Can you teach them biology?
Judge, I'm going to object at this point in time on grounds of argumentative. He just said he,
It's just, look, I don't expect either
Ask
one of
the
the
answer.
parents to
Right.
be tutoring the kids, but I do expect if the kid's failing, that the parent in charge of the children primarily is going to get them the tutoring they need.
What kind of kind of car do you drive for transportation purposes? I'm asking.
Judge, I'm going to object on grounds of relevance.
What's the relevance, Ms. Lusk, of that?
Judge, I'm trying to see if he can even fit kids in a car. In a car he has. I know he just bought a car that was $73,000 and he pays $869.99 a month. I want to know what kind of car it is that he can fit kids in a car if he has to transport them.
Judge,
I
I'm going to object
I
on,
don't care how much he paid for the car or what his car note is, but the size of the car, I'll allow that. So the objection's overruled. You may answer that, sir. What size?
it's-
car do you drive?
It's a Chevy Suburban. It fits like 7 people.
Judge, on grounds of relevance, argumentative.
Yeah, we're not going to go into the Chevy any more than that.
Do you think it was in the best parenting judgment for you during a pandemic to want to take kids to Mexico when there was a state department warning not to go to Mexico?
Judge, it mischaracterizes the testimony, number one, and that was an agreement.
Overruled. The court heard the testimony though, but you can answer that question.
Do I think it was a good idea?
Yeah, there's a State Department warning not to go to Mexico.
Judge, I'm going to object it. She's testifying.
Sustained.
Did you know there was a state warning not to go to Mexico?
Judge, I'm going to object. She's testifying in time frame.
I said, did you
Overruled.
know? Did you know there was a state warning not to go to Mexico during the time frame you went to the pandemic?
No, I
During
didn't.
the pandemic, did you even check?
Yes.
And you didn't see that?
Nope.
Objection, Judge, assumes facts not into evidence.
Sustained.
And did you know the planes, it wasn't even at the time good to go on planes, travel on planes?
Judge, I'm going to object on the number one. That's, that's not relevant. Number
Sustained.
one.
Did you think it was a good idea to keep them out of school? When
Judge,
they
I'm
were
gonna
doing so
object-
badly in school and you?
Object, ask and answer, Judge, and
I
it's,
didn't ask him that.
Oh, overruled.
Well, I was going to coordinate with their teachers and
Objection not responsive. Did you think it was a
Sustained.
good idea to take them out of school for 3 days?
yes, to be a part of my wedding. Yes.
Okay, so you didn't care if they missed that education, right?
Judge, I'm going to object. That's been asked and answered. That's an agreement.
Okay, and
Well,
did- huh?
yeah, the objection's sustained in the form of that question.
Did you think it was prudent not to send the kids back from Mexico with, not with you? But to
Judge,
let
I'm going
someone
to object
else?
on grounds of relevance, ask and answer, and the document speaks for itself. We inform mom of who was taking the children back. She agreed.
The court heard that testimony. The objection sustained is irrelevant.
Why can't you give her the insurance cards so she can take these kids to the doctor without any hassle?
Ma'am, I just started a new job and I had to order birth certificates because they needed verification, birth verification of all the kids. So I got the birth certificates, sent them off, and I'm still waiting on the cards. But I did give her the group number And
I understand, but when did you start this job?
I started in June.
Okay, well, they need to, can't they, did you ask for any temporary cards?
They don't do temporary cards.
Okay, well, what about if these kids have to be insured, correct?
Just gotta
Yeah.
wait 90 days. I would.
Yes.
So if she's gonna have a hassle there, then what's she gonna do?
Judge, I'm gonna object to coastal speculation,
And
hearsay.
sustain. As
How
the
couldn't you have
speculation.
expedited this problem so she could have the cards for the kids to go to the doctor?
Judge, ask and answer.
Sustain.
Now, you live in Fulshire, is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
And if, let's just say, if the kids live with you, they'd have to switch schools, is that right?
Yes, ma'am, but I wouldn't switch them schools in the middle of the year. I'd wait till the end of the year.
Oh, so you don't care, so they're gonna stay home now, right?
Judge, I'm gonna object. That's mischaracterizes his testimony. He says he's not gonna change schools during the year.
Sustain. Sustain.
Well, so then what do you mean you're not gonna, so what's your plan?
I would, if they were with me, I would take them to school. That's something that I would have to do, and that's what I would do.
Well, didn't you testify that you leave at 4 a.m. to go to work?
Yes, I do.
Okay, so how are you planning to do that?
Talk to my boss and work around that, which I'm very flexible and I can do that.
But you haven't, right? And you just started this job.
Judge, I'm gonna object, argumentative, and it's a compound question. Did he talk to his
Sustain.
boss about it or not?
Compound. Sustain the compound.
Which schools would they go to?
Objection timeframe.
No, if they
You
even
talking about
switch.
this year? Well.
Yeah, if they even switch,
Timeframe.
do you know what schools they'd even go to?
Yes, ma'am. We live close to all elementary, middle school, and high school in our
What's the name of the high school?
Jordan High School.
What?
Jordan High School.
And you know that for sure, that's where they'd go?
Judge, I'm gonna object. That's been asked and answered. He answered the question.
Where's
Overall.
what's
you
the
answered it, so-
junior high?
Adams Junior High.
Do you know? Did you discuss anything with them? Have you ever discussed whether or not with the school, if Jada needs accommodations? I mean, you email these people back and forth, but have you discussed in trying to have some plan for him?
Yes, ma'am.
And what did you do? You asked about accommodation?
Objection, Judge. You know what? Let him answer the
Sustain.
question.
Sustain. Let him answer the question. What did you do with, as far as Brooklyn and trying to get accommodation?
Just extra time, taking a test and then making sure she's doing her retest as far as if she fails a test and making sure she's at tutorials and then doing a retest.
But that's not, who said that's happening? She got accommodations? Formal accommodations. Has she been granted accommodations?
Judge, I'm gonna object. Ask and answer what he has done, not what the
No,
school
he
has
hasn't.
done.
He
Hold
hasn't
on,
done it.
hold on. I'm confused by the question, Ms. Lusk. If you can please rephrase it. I know he said that that's what he's done is try to get accommodations for her to have more time to take tests. But is that actually, sir, has that been accepted by the school? Has that been implemented to your knowledge?
Retests have, every kid, if they fail a test, they have a retest. But in tutorials.
That's not something you set up, right? They all get retests, right?
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
so you didn't do anything to help with the situation, right?
Just keeping track of her grades and making sure she's doing
Right.
what she do.
I asked you if you got accommodations set up.
Well, I can't do, the school has to do
Yes or
it. I
No.
can't.
Judge,
Did you
the
have
judge is
that?
also speculation. He can't set it up. The school has to do it. All he can do is
Right.
ask.
Yes, as a parent.
Hold on, Ms. Lusk. I'm starting to get confused because everybody's talking over everybody and it's making it hard for the court to follow the testimony. Sir, did you request from Brooklyn School that accommodations be made for her to have more time on her test? Yes or no?
Yes.
All right, thank you. Next question.
And they didn't do that, did they?
Objection, Judge. That's also speculation. I mean, you can't speak
Well,
for the school.
sustained is to sustain.
Did you get accommodations in place for Jaden?
Judge, I'm going to object to the form of the question, also speculation, and it's here. He cannot speak for the school.
I'm not
Speculation.
speaking for this.
Calls for hearsay, sustain.
Did you, though, contact the school about accommodations for Jaden? Yes or no?
I contacted his counselor and his teachers
About accommodations specifically.
about what, about coming up with,
Accommodations, it's called.
well, I can't ask for accommodations.
Objection not responsive.
Overruled. I think he's answering.
No. Did you,
Hold on,
Uh,
there's a question on the floor. And now we're talking about Jaden. What did you talk to the counselor about, or what did you request for Jaden, on Jaden's behalf?
What I requested was that to one, make sure he was in class, and then two, to make sure he's coming prepared and having a pencil and all that. But as far as accommodations, they will have to test him in order for him to have accommodations by the school.
but isn't it true that the parent has to request that he be tested for accommodations? The parent has to request that. Do you know that?
Yes, I do that.
Okay, so that didn't happen, correct?
Judge, I'm going to object to the form of the question. Did he request it or not?
Sustain.
Do you know what an ARD is?
Yes, I do.
What is it? What's it stand for?
I don't really know what it stands for, but I've been in plenty of art since I was a school teacher.
Okay, so do these kids have ARDs?
No, they don't have arts. I don't think they're 504 or anything like that, special education.
Okay, but you don't know, right?
Well, they don't have arts and they're not 504.
Mhm. Could you have requested too that there be an ARD for Jaden, and where everyone, and you know what they are, they all get together and go over everything to see whether or not he needs special help?
Judge, it mischaracterizes the testimony. It's not available at the high school level.
How does he know?
Hold on.
It is too.
Hold on. Objection sustained.
You filed this lawsuit back in August 20th, is that right? Of 2020, August of 2020, is that correct?
I can't remember the exact date, but yeah, it was,
And you alleged in the affidavit at that time that their emotional and physical health could be at stake, is that right?
correct, yes.
And that was denied because,
Judge, I'm going to object. It's a temporary order with a higher threshold. It's a legal conclusion on his behalf.
Sustained.
temporary orders were denied when I filed it based on the fact that it didn't meet the standard, correct?
Judge, I'm going to
Emotional.
object. It's asking for a legal
Sustained.
conclusion.
Sustained. He doesn't know the difference between the
Okay. Well, she doesn't know the
standard
difference
for a
between,
temporary order setting under 156.006 versus a final trial modification. And I don't expect either side to know that.
and well, she doesn't know the difference between a general denial either.
I understand that. And
Hammer on
that the court is following the testimony. I don't expect her to understand the technical things associated with a
Okay.
general denial either.
Okay. Who is the kid's pediatrician?
Dr. Caven, but he recently just retired. So
How do you spell that?
Kavin.
So who do they have now?
I have no clue.
Why don't you know?
I don't know if they've been to a pediatrician, and I was not told.
And you haven't taken them to any, right?
Have not this year. No, I have not.
Okay. Do you know if they've had a yearly checkup?
Objection, Judge. Calls for speculation. He said he hasn't been notified. You don't know.
Overruled.
No.
Do I know? No, I don't know.
Did you take him for a yearly checkup?
Oh, I have.
Objection, that's been asked and
Sustained.
answered.
No, what? Did you take them?
Sustained
for
is
the-
asked and answered. He hadn't gone to he had
Oh.
told him he hadn't taken him to the doctor this year.
Okay. Now you say every week when every week you help Jaden with things, but he doesn't come over there every week, does he? Are you talking about your second and fourth weekends?
No, ma'am. Like I said, I check his grades weekly. So if he has any missing assignments, I touch base with him and ask him about where those assignments, where they at, if he had done them, if he had turned them in. And
Did he lie to you? Because evidently they're not happening, right?
yes, ma'am, he has lied to me a lot of times. Yeah.
Okay, so he's not a very truthful individual, is he?
Teenagers lie.
When you accuse him or say that he had 37 absences last year, right? You testified to that. Well, what did you do last year when you knew he was having unexcused absences? What were you doing about it? Because you said, oh, he had 37 absences. That shouldn't have happened. And it was, is that right?
Judge, objection relevance, you file a lawsuit.
Well,
I mean,
just do
what
your-
else can you do?
Legal objection is relevance. Don't give me speaking objections.
Relevance.
I know both sides have been doing that, but I don't want that.
Objection relevance,
Objection
Judge.
to relevance is overruled. You may answer that, sir. She's asking what you did in response to the fact that Jaden had 37 unexcused absences last year. What actions did you take?
Well, I contacted the school and asked them to do a truancy. But again, I didn't know 99% of the times I would get emails or phones from Morton Ranch saying Jaden, Brooklyn, or
Objection
Jackson
hearsay.
was in school.
Overruled. Mr.
So-
Griffin, I want you to tell me, because it's just something that obviously the court's not happy with 37 unexcused absences. I think that's atrocious. And that's contributing to why this kid was flunking every class probably. So I want to know what, and I'm going to probably ask mom the same thing, but I want to know, Dad, what actions did you take from your standpoint? If you're checking his grades every week, what actions you took when you found out he had 37 unexcused absences?
I did contact the school and I did ask for a truancy to be served. They advised me that they didn't do that because in the past they've had kids who had fines and they couldn't pay them, and so they were refusing to give the kids their diplomas, and that caused a big rift. And so I did do that, but I was denied that. And like I said, I didn't know a lot of these absences. I didn't know. I would see him and ask him why he didn't go to school, and he was just saying he didn't feel like it, or his mom let him stay home, or he had a headache.
Objection
Or-
hearsay.
Or I would get emails from
Objection
his,
Yeah,
hearsay.
don't tell me what Jaden told you. I'm asking what you did. to
yeah.
address-
No, yeah, I was in constant communication with his teachers about his attendance and why he wasn't in school. And then, like I said, he was skipping class last year. He was skipping third period or fourth period. I can't remember, that his counselor had reached out to me and told me about. And so just really trying to keep him on track. Like I said, I can only do so much with me being here and him with his mom.
He was doing virtual, online school, right?
He started off online, then he went back. He was doing online, and he was playing football too. So he was staying home and then going to football practice and then coming home, and then they started, all of them went back at the end of September, that first 6 weeks when they could go back.
Okay, but you still didn't answer the question. You didn't really do anything about his absences, right? Except talk to I don't know what you did. You
Objection,
didn't-
just been asked and answered.
Sustained.
Well,
Objection,
No,
ask and answered.
I'll wait for the next question.
Do you know what Jaden's grades are currently?
Currently, yes, I do.
And can you tell me what they are?
I don't have it right in front of me, but I know he's doing very well. He has A's and B's. I was just talking to him today, and he sent me his grades, and he's very proud of him. I'm very proud of him. He's doing very good as of right now. It's only been a couple of weeks in school, but I'm super proud of him. I hope he keeps it going.
Does he have any absences?
I'm not sure. I haven't got any emails or any calls saying that he's been absent.
And do you know what he's taking?
Yes, I know he's taking French. I know he's taking math. I think it's geometry. I know he's taking economics. And I can't remember the other ones.
And why do you think he's all of a sudden had this little turnaround?
To be truthfully honest, I think he's tired of being in the hole and tired of just feeling like crap. And he's trying to do better. He wants to do better, and I'm proud of him. And like I said, I think he's just hopefully he's making a turn right now, his last year in high school, because he's on the verge of not graduating. So hopefully he's making a turn and taking it serious.
Who said he was? What do you mean he's on the verge? I mean, he's graduating. No one said he wasn't graduating. What do you mean he's on the verge of not graduating? Why do you say that?
Well, because if he doesn't pass his classes this year, then he's going to have to go to summer school and he won't graduate. So he needs to pass. Yeah, he needs to pass these classes, or he won't graduate.
And all kids do. And he's never been held back, has he, any year?
No.
Judge, I'm going to object on grounds of argumentative.
Overruled. Has he been held back before, Mr. Griffin?
And he's never been held back. He's been in summer school and passed summer school.
Do you know the truancy rules for the state of Texas?
Judge, I'm going to object, ask for a legal conclusion.
Same.
Do you know that did you find out whether the parents would be contacted after so many absences so that they would know about the absences?
Judge, I'm going to object. That calls for a legal conclusion. They told him why. It's a fine for the kids. They didn't graduate. Griff.
Did you ever get a tutor for Brooklyn?
Objection, ask and answer.
Yeah.
Overruled.
No, it wasn't until this year that Brooklyn has started declining. At 7th and 8th grade, she's been doing fine, had A's and B's, and this year has been, she's died for the worst.
Okay, but now she's out of that AP class, right? Those AP classes?
Objection, Judge. That's been asked and answered.
Sustained.
Okay, so all this testimony and discussion seems like it's mainly doesn't concern Jackson. I don't hear any issues concerning Jackson.
Objection, Judge. That's been asked and answered.
Sustained. He said Jackson didn't have any issues.
Okay, and
other than
are you asking for all these 3 kids to come over to your house with the new baby?
Objection, Judge. That's been asked and answered.
Well, hold on. It's been asked and answered. Mr. Ramos did
5 kids.
that with his P1, so sustained.
Do you know that Brooklyn is getting tutoring 3 times a week for geometry? Do you know that?
Yes.
Okay, so she is getting help, right?
Yes.
And not from you, from the school.
Yes.
Okay, so are you satisfied with that for Brooklyn right now?
Yes, I would like to see her grades get up a little bit more, but yes. And she just got an 89 on her geometry test, so I'm really happy for her.
Great, and that's what she's having tutoring for, right?
Yes.
Okay. All right, nothing further, Judge. Pass the witness.
All right, Mr. Ramos, anything further?
No, Judge.
I I want to ask you one question, Mr. Griffin, and then again, I may have a few for mom later, but can you tell me why, from your opinion, you don't think you and Miss Griffin can co-parent? Why are y'all having such difficulty? It sounds like both of y'all want what's best for your kids. Both of y'all are, I mean, there's a lot of issues, but both of y'all want what's best for your kids. Why are y'all having a difficult time from your side of things, co-parenting and keeping each other in the loop as far as what's going on with these children?
In my opinion, they're in an environment where they're not kept accountable, and they can pretty much do whatever they want. As you can see with the absences, they have tons of unexcused absences, and so I believe that structure is going to help them and help them succeed. And so that is, my biggest thing, spending time with them and then providing them structure where we're not sleeping all day and playing video games all night and being left alone throughout the day. And
Judge, I would test, it has been no testimony that they're left alone while she goes to work.
All right, that's all the questions I had of Mr. Griffin. Any additional questions from this witness from either lawyer?
No, ma'am. No,
I
sir.
have one question.
All right.
Do you believe, or Mr. Griffin, do you know what our family wizard is?
no, I don't.
Yeah, that's asking for a legal conclusion also.
Overruled. He's asking if he knows what it is. Do you know what that is, sir?
No, I don't.
All right, Mr. Ramos, any other witnesses you'd like to call?
No, sir.
All right, petitioner rest. Ms. Lusk, it's now time to put on respondent's case. Any witnesses that you'd like to call?
Yes, I'd like to call Kelly Rossi. She's out of, we could get her, we have to get her on. She's been out. She was sworn in yesterday.
All right, while we're getting her, I also see that there's a request for the court to confer with these children. And since
Yes.
they're, and even Jackson's 12, right? So all three are of age to talk to the court, or it's mandatory on the court to talk to them. So I need to schedule a time to do that. My thought is this, is Ms. Rossi your only witness, Ms. Lusk? Or are you
Yes, Judge.
planning on? Okay. All right. Ms. Griffin, when do you think you could get these three kids to come visit with the court? Normally I like to do that at like 4 o'clock in the afternoon after school, or as close to school letting out as I can. But
4 o'clock.
Because he has to.
I could do tomorrow or Monday.
Monday, you think you could get all three here on Monday at around 4 o'clock?
Yes.
All right, so Mr. Ramos and Ms. Lusk, you can submit topics to the court that you would like for me to talk
Yes.
to the three kids about.
Okay.
Mom, Dad, I don't want y'all talking to the kids, other than you can just tell them you're going to meet with the judge. I can promise you, one of the first things I do is prying in these kids about, what did mom tell you about this interview? What did dad tell you about this interview? And if those kids are feeling any pressure from mom or dad, they typically open up to me eventually and tell me that. I don't want you to ask them, tell them anything about the conference. Don't tell them how they need to answer questions or anything like that. Because if you do that, it's going to end up irritating me, because I want to get their opinion on these things. And their opinion is not binding on the court. So even though the kids may want something, that doesn't necessarily mean I'm going to agree that that's what's best for them. Okay, but if you want topics or questions that you want me to address with the kids, just please email those to the coordinator, and I'll make sure that I cover those topics. But we'll do the conference with the children Monday at 4, which means I'll give you my ruling. I'd like to bring y'all in and just do the ruling on Zoom rather than writing up a ruling. So and then give you an entry date. So if the lawyers can do it, what we can do is plan on like Tuesday. Y'all look at your calendars and let me know if you can do like Tuesday at 1 or 1:30. if y'all have got a mediation, I'll do it at 12:30 kind of thing, but I want to
I'm
pick a
available,
time on
Judge.
Tuesday where I can give you my ruling.
I'm available,
So
Judge.
parties aren't stressing out wondering what the future holds for them.
I'm available, Judge.
Are you available Tuesday afternoon, Ms. Lust, for me to come out, give you my ruling and give y'all an intro date?
Hey, Judge, I didn't want to leave and get the calendar until you gave me permission just to go get the.
You have permission.
I'll be right back. Okay, thank you. I'll go get it. Judge, that's fine, anytime.
All right,
Tuesday
let's
afternoon.
do, because I don't know if I'm going to be in trial that day. So let's do 1:30. And
Okay.
then I don't think it'll take more than 10 minutes at the most. But we'll do 1:30 then on Tuesday. That way, if I'm in trial, I'll just tell them to come back at 1:40.
And call in by Zoom. Okay.
You just come into my Zoom just like you did today.
Yes, sir.
All right, we're now on the respondent's case in chief. Ms. Rossi, if you would please get your video up and running. And unmute for me.
It says she's blocked.
She says she's blocked. What's that mean?
She's in the room. She might
Oh,
want to
blocked.
log out and log back in and make sure she checks join with video and
Okay.
audio.
Okay. Judge, I do have a preliminary objection to this witness testifying on the basis of the disclosure.
All right, let me put, ma'am, Ms. Rossi, I'm going to put you in a waiting room. I'll bring you right back. We have a preliminary matter, so just hang tight. I'll be right back.
Thank you.
Okay, what is the preliminary matter, Mr. Ramos?
Subject matter, Judge, it says Kristen Griffin's mother.
Response, Ms. Lusk?
Well, that's Chris Griffin's mom, Kelly Ross. That's who it is. It's her mom.
Hold on. How does that put Mr. Ramos on notice of what the subject matter of her testimony is?
Well, he didn't object to it or ask for further. He could have objected and said motion to compel that it wasn't answered properly and he wanted further. I don't even know where he's looking. I don't even know where is he?
Your response.
Hold
to the disclosure.
Response,
I'm not leaving the room. I'm going to my. Where's he
But-
looking?
It's my exhibit 37, Judge.
all right, it's petitioner's
What's he
exhibit
looking at?
37. Ms. Lusk.
Please don't forget this. This is reproduced. No. Hold on. What's he looking at? Sedgwick, I don't know. Mine say Kelly Rossi on my disclosure, so I don't know what he's looking at.
Next
On
page.
page, huh?
Page
Yeah.
2.
It's page 5 and 6.
I'm looking at page 5 of 9 of my, the first one is of my response to disclosures, so I don't, page 5, I got it right here. It says Kelly Rossi, 920 Hygeia Avenue, Encinitas. It's not on page 6, it's on page 5 of my disclosures.
It's 5 and then the very top of 6. And so the issue is he's asking in 5 under the disclosures, a brief statement of each identified person's connection with the case.
Mhm. Says state the names, addresses, telephone numbers, person you have a knowledge about. Yeah, a brief statement of each identified person. says Kelly Ross, Kristen Griffin's mother. But on the page before that, it has Kelly Rossi.
Judge, the other issue is on the legal theories and factual basis, they have listed absolutely zero on any type of testimony regarding best interest, parenting, any observations. I don't have any notice of what this witness is going to say because their legal theory is all child support. They have nothing in there on one child issue. And this witness, the only connection I have is her mother.
Judge, we were ordered to, these are in my disclosures. He asked who they are, the relevant person. I say Kelly Rossi. I list her address, I list her phone number, I list her email address, and I say Kristen Griffin's mother.
All right, and what do you
He
anticipate?
wanted more information, he should have objected. I have it's all in there, so it doesn't say Kristen Griffin's mother, just like he said.
It says brief statement of each. I mean, I gotta have something.
Hold on, Miss Lusk, what is this witness being called for? What do you anticipate her subject matter is going to be?
This is Kristen's mother. She's going to have personal knowledge of how Kristen is a mother to these kids, what she personally observes, how she treats them, what she does with them, everything that she does, her habits with them, her cooking, her home, their food, and everything that he's trying to say is her structure. Her mother has personal knowledge.
All
I
right,
have,
Ramos, Mr. Ramos, your response.
Judge, I have no notice of any of this.
You have notice.
Any other topics that she just, rattled off, there's absolutely no, not even a blur regarding the subject matter, not even parenting. And in addition to that, the legal theories and factual basis contain absolutely no facts dealing
Okay.
with any of the issues that she just rattled off. I don't have any notice of any of this.
Well, I didn't have to put that when in my, I don't know, even, why were you saying that had to be in there? That I'm having,
And she has a
I
general.
have her in there listed as disclosures. If you had an objection or you wanted to know more, you should have
No,
done.
no, stop talking to Mr. Ramos, Ms. Lusk. The court's going to overrule the objection. I'm treating this as it's a rebuttal witness based on the structure argument. We're going to limit her testimony to the structure around the home and her observations because that's the way I'm treating this witness. And so that's the ruling of the court. Let's bring Ms. Rossi in. Okay, Ms. Rossi, you were sworn in yesterday. You're still under oath. Ms. Lusk, you may proceed.
Can you please state your name?
Kelly Rossi.
Okay, Kelly, how are you related to Kristen, if you are?
I am her mother.
Okay, and where do you live?
I live in Encinitas, which is north of San Diego, California.
Okay,
Objection
and
to witness testifying as to anything having to do with personal knowledge relating to these children's everyday schedule and personal observations. She lives in
Well,
San Diego.
We're going to see in a second, Mr. Ramos. It's, we'll see if they are able to get that evidence in front of me. But right now, the objection's overruled. You may continue, Ms. Lusk.
Ms. Rossi, do you come, how often do you appear in Texas?
My work allows for me to travel and work out away from the office off-site. Up until COVID happened, I could visit Kristen and the kids periodically, and at times I've spent several weeks with her during that time.
Judge, I renew my objection. California's been locked down on COVID for a year.
Well, hold on. Ms. Lusk, if you can tie in when the last time she's come and spent time with Ms. Griffin and the kids.
When's the last time you've been here and spent time in the household? Kristen's
The last time I was there was at the end of 2019, and I would like to say that with my profession, I'm not on lockdown.
Judge, I'm going to renew my objection. It's not relevant at this point in time. It's 2019 and she lives in another state.
Yeah, what's the relevance, Ms. Lusk? We're talking about 2019. It's over 2 years ago. And
because they bring up everything that happened in 2019, Judge, everything was like school and everything in 2019, school and grades and doctors and everything else. And she has personal knowledge. If she was there residing or visiting for a while, she could see what was going on.
well, the things that were brought up that were concerning to the court were all 2020 and 2021. So I was allowing this witness as a rebuttal witness to counteract Mr. Griffin's comments that there's not structure in the home, and that might have been what was causing the grades to slip. But I don't see how this witness is going to help if she hasn't been here since 2019.
If she has had FaceTime and personal observation through FaceTime,
I'll allow questions that are along those lines to see where it goes, but you may proceed, Ms. Lusk.
okay. So Kelly, when do you FaceTime this household?
I don't FaceTime, but I talk directly to
Objection, Judge,
Kristen.
non-responsive after everything. I do not FaceTime.
Sustained after I do not FaceTime.
Okay, so how would you, are you able, from any personal knowledge, not hearsay, but through personal knowledge of what you observed or seen, to know the workings of these kids, what goes on in this household?
Objection, relevance and time frame.
In
Sustained.
2020 and
2020.
forward.
Since 2020 and forward, I'd be happy to answer that question. I speak to my
Judge,
daughter
I'm gonna
daily.
object- I'm going to object as non-responsive, mischaracterizing the testimony. She hasn't been here since 2019.
Sustained.
But are you able to observe the children? If you haven't been FaceTiming, have you been able to observe the children in their environment, and not talking to Kristen and what goes on? That's hearsay, but what have you had any personal observations through FaceTime or Skype or anything?
Judge, I'm going to object. She hasn't FaceTime. She ask and answer and relevance.
Sustained as to FaceTime.
Skype?
I don't Skype.
Have you been sent any videos?
Judge, Judge, same objection. Send videos of what? Herself? It's not based on personal observation. My objection is relevance and time frame.
Sustained.
Have you had any trips or vacations with this family?
Objection, relevance, time frame.
Well,
Since
sustained as to time frame. If you can give me a time frame, Ms. Lusk, on that, the
Yes.
trips.
2020 forward. Kelly, have you taken any trips or vacations with the family?
Objection, ask and answer. She hasn't been here since 2019.
I-
pursuant to her
Overruled.
I
testimony.
didn't ask her that.
Overruled. She hadn't been to Texas since 2020, but they may
I
have
asked her
taken.
if she took any vacations or spent any time in any other location since in 2020 with Kristen and the kids.
I have not.
Okay. So
Judge,
there's
I'm
no way
renewing my
you've had,
objection on grounds of relevance.
Sustained at this time, unless there's something else, Ms. Lusk.
is there anything, anywhere you visited that you would be able to have personal observation of the household or the relationship between the children and Kristen?
Judge, ask and answer, relevance. She asked every which way you could, whether it was FaceTime, an alternative electronic means, or physical appearance, or vacations. And all I got is that she sent videos.
Sustained.
Could I have her, I would like to have her testify as to up to 2019, how she observed the relationship between Kristen and the children.
Objection, relevance. Too remote in time.
Whether there was negligent supervision, whether or not there was
It's a rebuttal
hands-on
witness,
control.
Hold on. The things that precipitated the filing of the suit all predate all subsequent to 2020. It's the 2020 school year and the 2021 school year. I just, and I know both parents and would, if their parents are alive, would come in and say they love their children very much. I don't doubt that for a second. And I don't doubt that they're going to say their child is a good parent and loves their children. I understand both sides could probably march a bunch of people in here that would say that. But what I'm really concerned about is what happened in 2020 school year and what happened in the 2021 school year. And based on what I've heard, this witness, Ms. Rossi, I appreciate you appearing and being available, but I don't see, based on the response to the discovery and then based on what I've heard the last 2 days, that you're going to be able to help us in what I'm having to decide. So I appreciate you coming in today, but the objection to her testimony is sustained at this time.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Ms.
Thank you.
Rossi. All right, Ms. Lusk, any other witnesses that you'd like to call?
No, Judge, the rest.
All right, any rebuttal, Mr. Ramos?
No, sir.
All right, what we're gonna do is we're not totally resting because we've got the children interviews coming up Monday at 4 o'clock. Mom, if you'll bring them in, don't talk to them. Come up to the 3rd floor of the courthouse. You can ring the little buzzer that says 387th. Miss Lusk can tell you where that is. My bailiff may see you before then, but if not, we'll come out. The bailiff will get you. He'll bring each child in. I normally will have them in the jury box or in the jury room, and then I'll bring each child in individually and conduct the interviews. When they're all 3 done, they'll come back out into the hallway and you can take them home with
And
them.
Judge, I wanted to call myself for attorney's fees in this matter.
All right, you
Judge,
may,
I'll stipulate to her qualifications and whatever bill she wants to offer and the fact that, how much has been paid and how much has been owed.
all right.
I
What's the
submitted-
stipulation?
I submitted an invoice on R17, my R17.
Yes,
Okay,
ma'am, no objection.
Let's stipulate my qualification. Okay, Judge, I'm gonna get it. Judge, this case was filed by a petitioner and based on for custody, and we had a counter petition for child support increase, and this has cost for this custody issue, Miss Griffin funds that she doesn't have, and that was very difficult for her to try to supply funds for this. My bill, you can see on Respondents Exhibit 17 is a total of $9,268.10. And I charge $325 an hour. There's also on the invoice.
Judge, I stipulate to all that. I'm not disputing the hourly rate, the totality of the bill and the total amount.
Okay,
and
and
that they're reasonable and necessary.
Yes,
Huh?
sir.
reasonable and
He's
necessary.
stipulating and they're reasonable and necessary that the charges are fairly and customary charged in our county and to your total amount that you've invoiced.
And we were asking for a judgment for Mr. Griffin to pay, and the total bill, like I said before, was total amount of this bill, $9,268.10.
Okay.
And that's, and
All right, I want to
ask
ask,
myself,
all right, and Mr. Ramos, I'm sorry, any questions of this witness?
Absolutely not.
All right. Any other witnesses that you'd like to call, Ms. Lusk,
no, Judge.
Mr. Ramos?
No, sir.
All right, Ms. Griffin, I'm going to ask you a couple of the same questions I asked Mr. Griffin, because the 37 absences, I don't know that I've ever seen that many as a judge. That ought to, I mean, I see a lot of stuff. So I want to know from you, why in the world did Jaden miss 37 days, 37 unexcused absences? What steps you took to prevent those from accumulating like that? And why you weren't able to prevent it? Is he just not listening to you? Is he too big and not going to listen to mom? What's going on there?
No, I'm not sure where you got the number 37 absences. I know previously, the beginning of his junior year, he was skipping first period, which that causes them to turn in an absent to the office. And that's when the parents are sent an email notifying them that their child's absent.
All right, well, I got the 37 absences from dad's testimony. I don't think you were able to give us the number of days in my notes of how many he was absent. You said it wasn't 30, it wasn't 50, but I never got a number from you. So how many unexcused absences do you think he had his last school year?
Honestly, I'm not sure. I'm going to say maybe,
Judge, it calls for speculation on the part now. She don't know.
That's
yeah,
another
I
thing.
don't know.
I didn't get that testimony. So when you couldn't give me a number and then he gave me a number of 37, and the
Mhm.
court took 37 as being the number. So why is he having all these unexcused absences?
Like I said, I'm not sure where the 37 came from. But I know if the kids miss, I think if they have 5 absences, a truancy notice is mailed to the parent. I've never gotten a truancy notice mailed. They notify you, I think, when there's 5 absences with the dates of the absences.
So have you ever had a conversation with Jaden about his absences?
When his teacher emailed about he was skipping first period, I asked him where he was going because he was going to school, and he said that he was going into the restroom because he didn't like his first period class, which was his Spanish class.
That was last year.
That was last year.
And what happened after you talked to him? Anything?
I told him that that's unacceptable and he needs to go to class, which he did start going to class.
Okay. And then I'll ask you and then we're cutting for the day, but also from your perspective, why can you and Mr. Griffin not co-parent with each other and communicate in these children's best interest?
I'm not sure. I try to reach out. I previously would text him about the kids, but I don't always get a response. That's the only reason that I contact him, is dealing with the children. If he wants to respond to me, he will, but he doesn't always respond. So I kind of just gave up on reaching out because I don't get a response.
All right. And when did Brooklyn start the tutoring for geometry?
She started last week. She goes 3 days a week during school time.
Any questions, either lawyer, after my questions of this witness?
No, sir.
No, would it be possible for her to find out exactly about how many absences there were?
Well,
Yes, Judge, I have it. I
we're
mean,
done. We're done for the day, and I've heard their testimony.
Okay.
I'll talk to the kids Monday at 4 o'clock. We're going off the record.
Okay.
Thank you, lawyers, and y'all have a good evening.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Judge.
Judge. We excuse, sir.